All right. Madam Clerk, let's go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Long Beach City Council. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zendejas.
Present.
Councilwoman Allen. Councilmember Duggan.
Here.
Councilman Supernaw.
Here.
Councilwoman Kerr. Councilwoman Sorrow. Vice Mayor Uranga.
Presente.
Councilwoman Thrash Entuk.
Present.
Councilmember Ricks Odie. Mayor Richardson.
I am here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Well, today is November 11th, and we recognize Veterans Day on today. We had a great celebration at Houghton Park, an ongoing tradition with Veterans Festival. So we want to thank the Long Beach Veterans Affairs Commission, Office of Veterans Support, for organizing that. And we want to thank, are there any veterans with us tonight? All right, let's hear it for our local veterans, and thank you for your service. So council members Allen and Ricks Odie won't be able to join us this evening, and I'm going to ask council members Zendejas to lead us in the moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to invite everyone to pause in honor of our brave men and women who serve our nation with courage, sacrifice, and dedication. Veterans Day reminds us of that freedoms that we have, that we cherish, and it reminds us that those did not come without cost. They were protected and preserved by those who wore the uniform and stood ready to defend our country. In this moment of silence, let us reflect on the lives of our veterans. Let's remember those who never returned home and express our deepest gratitude to every individual who has answered the call to serve. Their legacy will continue to live on. Please join me in a moment of silence for our veterans that call Long Beach home. Thank you. If you are able, please join me by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Please face the front. Put your hand over your heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, thank you, council members and Zendejas, for that lovely tribute. Tonight, we have no city council presentations, so we can get right to business. Let's start with consent calendars, items 1 through 36. All right, I see we have some public comment on consent. If you hear your name, please come forward. Karen Reside, Cash, Carolina Butler, and Kathleen Adams.
Good evening, everyone. I am Karen Reside. I am currently the president of the Long Beach Gray Panthers and will be for another year. But we did elect Dr. Claudia Lopez and Dr. Drew Jones as co-presidents, and they will be in training for the next year. And I promised Blair Cohen I would start by doing the Gray Panther growl. So if you're able to join me, hands in the air, and stick your tongue out as far as it can go, and you're gonna growl as loud as you can. Ah! So this is a new year. We are organizing the older adults, and I wanna speak on the $5,000 port grant that's been awarded to do cultural trips for the older adults. And this is like our first growl. We want to make sure that all the seniors get a chance into providing input as to what trips they want to take. And we want to make sure that the trips are inclusive and equitable, because now they are not. I have been on trips where I've had a senior pass out in front of me, and neither the staff nor the museum that we were visiting knew what to do. I had to yell at them to call 911 because it was serious. That can't happen when you're doing field trips for older adults. So we agree, more field trips. We thank you, Mayor, for providing money in the past so we could take trips to expand our activities. But we want to make sure that the trips are done well. We want itineraries. We want an assigned staff person. We want name tags with emergency contact information on them. So if somebody passes out, we will know who to call to get help. Thank you for everything you do for our older adults. We're looking forward to this being an outstanding year. And I went to the AAA meeting, and Mr. Modica, I think there's some money there that we're going to be able to get in the future. So always looking for funding sources for our older adults. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next is Cash. K-A-S-H. Is Cash here?
Good evening, residents of Long Beach. We're here in discussion about item 2 of the Belmont Shore. Does anyone have a clue what's happening in Belmont Shore that we should be celebrating when we should have law enforcement and a continued enforcement of law and order and justice for all in Belmont Shore? I'm here in support of them. So what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the history of Belmont Shore, a location nearby where residents feel that no longer is it safe. And one incident after another shows me a social breakdown in our community and the social well-being of what Americans want to know a reason about. Why do we live like this? Well, in the United States versus Bagdasarian, I'll make it very clear. Never in the history has a black person done anything right. There are many unusable, unstable individuals in Long Beach that destroy our community. And why is that? Because we're too busy spending money, like $5,500 on parades, when we should be uplifting, supporting Belmont Shore residents, and securing the fact of the matter that they deserve protection. Shut down these bars that are open from 4 a.m. It's ridiculous. You don't need to get fucked up for that.
Open at 4 a.m.
You do not need to get fucked up for that.
There are no bars open at 4 a.m.
Well, the point is, like I said, you don't need to get fucked up. That's the point. A point where residents have fear, residents are intimidated in their community, and residents don't like going out in places where there is crime, corruption, and hostile activity going on. So for $5,500, you could shave away some of that money and put it towards the policing in this area for at least a quarter or maybe 2 quarters to get a grip on this problem, again, in Belmont Shore.
All right, let's get through these last 30 seconds. We don't need the shouting.
Right. So because I don't know what I'm talking about, and just like anyone else who's afraid to know what you're talking about, I'm here to say 42 U.S.C. 1983, and this is law. Fuck you politely, and thank you for listening. And for the record, Cohen versus California. Fuck the draft. You never done anything right to protect my First Amendment, Mayor Richardson. Thank you for the time and moment. And I'm submitting this into the record. And
right.
Mr. Mayor,
All right,
Mr.
that's your time. Let's cut his mic. You're done. That's enough. You're done. You got your 3 minutes. That's what you're afforded under the First Amendment, but you're done. No one can hear you. Your microphone is turned off, sir.
I speak loud and clear.
And no one can hear you.
Public away from my forum. I have the floor, and when my time is
You
up,
actually do not have the floor.
to the goddamn subject of the matter, sir. Thank you.
Sir, if you have documents you'd like us to keep, please bring them to the clerk. If you can come over here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, to the public who are here joining us, that's an example of how not to perform public comment. This is public comment, so there's a First Amendment. So it has been questioned whether people can use profanity. Unfortunately, we do enjoy when young people are able to come to the council meetings, but some people, nope, let's not do that. Let's not engage. Let's not engage. Let's pay attention to that.
Ma'am,
So folks may say things that may be offensive or ignorant or things like that, but it is not a reflection on our city council, or our general public. And so I don't want to discourage you from participating. We are here so you can participate, but unfortunately, occasionally we do have folks who use this platform to spew hate. And that, unfortunately, that is the law. So we're going to continue with public comment. Next, we have Carolina Butler.
Let me move this closer. Hi, my name is actually Carolina Bueller. I'm running for governor of California, and I have been spending a lot of time this entire year with people who are suffering from all levels of our society. So I just, right now we just had an altercation, right? Fighting happens all the time like this, and I just think it just doesn't make sense right now for all of us right now under this administration to fight at all. We need to remember that we're all in this together, and no one really wants anyone to suffer. And the reason that I actually came is because I think that we really need to start growing a culture of love and unity across differences. And that's why I'm here, because, for example, just a few months ago, I'm sure you know, there was a federal agent who was in a women's bathroom, armed, intoxicated. The police was called, and then he assaulted the police officer. This is actually very, very, very common. These federal agents are known to get intoxicated, get violent, even when they're off the clock. They're very dangerous. Just yesterday, it was found that one federal agent should have never been hired. He's been doing this for 20 years, but he actually had a record of domestic violence. And domestic violence is a reliable indicator of abuse of power in these kinds of positions in a violent way, and that's actually what happened. He was violent towards a woman, he broke her car window, he had blood all over himself. It was very scary for everyone around. So I really want you to consider creating a resolution that says that this Long Beach is in solidarity with the people. It doesn't matter what background you are, what age you are, where you're from, what you believe in. At the end of the day, we're all part of the same community. I've said this before. The community is called humanity, and right now it's really a time for all of us to come together and protect those that are the most vulnerable and do everything possible to get ICE out of Long Beach, because they are dangerous and they have lost their minds. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your public comment. Next is Kathleen.
Thank you for the fantastic Houghton Park Veterans appreciation. It was wonderful, and so many people turned out to help support the community. Thank you. I'm responding to, on the agenda, item 18. Today we are honoring Veterans Day, and we are also expanding Homeland Security grants in order to respond to terrorism. My grandfather, who passed away in 1988 at age 82, he was in the ground forces in Italy. I'm, as his granddaughter, honoring him by raising up the fact that our president has declared Antifa a terrorist organization, when in fact my grandfather represents Antifa, which means anti-fascism. And the people of World War II who were in the ground forces and all the forces have protected us from, I don't know if you've ever been to Louisiana and seen the World War II Museum, but they were intent on creating a world of fascism. And we have our liberties now today, and our Constitution is still being upheld, I hope, because of the people of the United States. It's all up to us. It's not up to the police. It's not up to the city council alone. We need to support the city council in making sure that these funds are not used against our citizens of the United States. Unfortunately, it apparently daily from Terminal Island ICE or ICE cosplay, because they don't identify themselves. They don't identify themselves as Homeland Security. They cover up themselves. They don't say who they are. And so I believe they are cosplay bounty hunters, and they have continued to kidnap people in the multiple occurrences in Long Beach. Please, City Council and anyone who's in the city, do not allow Homeland Security ICE bounty hunters to use whatever security grants to attack our citizens. Anyone who is resisting fascism is doing their duty under the Constitution of the United States. And so thank you for doing that. The federal government has given propaganda against the citizens in order to divide us against each other, and we must resist. And I ask everybody to read the book On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century. The first one is do not obey in advance, and also be a patriot and be as courageous as you can. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes public comment on consent. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Madam City Attorney, let's report out from closed session, please.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one report from closed session. We have settled a case, the matter of Rooney versus Amcord, for $2.45 million.
Thank you. We'll now go to general public comment. We have a list of speakers signed up. This is opening public comment on any matter listed or not listed on the agenda. I'll read your names. Please come forward. There are 10 speakers: Dr. Lynette Long, Renee Hernandez, Laura, Jennifer Harper, Chriselle Dombrowski, Rachel W., Francesca Shaboya, Stephen Smith, Cash, and Aris Williams, A-R-Y-S-S Williams. All right, Dr. Long, you're up.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. To the mayor and to all of the counselors here. I just have been observing since I moved back into Long Beach. Born and raised in Long Beach all my life, went away for 20 years, come back, it has changed. So what I have done is I have really been observing since May. Don't want you to think that I'm just saying something. I walk the area and get my 10,000 steps in. Is that all right? I make sure that I'm doing what I need to do. But in doing that, I'm seeing oversized furniture placed in sides of the street, sides of on alleys. I made it my point to make sure I check the alleys. It starts from 21st Street all the way back to 9th Street. Those alleys, Magnolia Alley, that alley Magnolia, the Chestnut Alley, the Pine Alley, coming all the way to downtown Long Beach, those alleys, they put everything and anything in there. And then you can't, the trash. I know we're trying to get ready for something, but we can't get ready for something if we can get ready for ourselves handling what's going on. We got the Olympics coming. We want things to happen for the good of us. I've never seen Long Beach like this. I was blown away by the things I had to deal with. Coming out and have to put a gun in my hand, or couldn't go to the trash can without some mace or something in your hand, and things have gotten a little bit worse. But it's okay. This is something that we can do just good. We just have to make sure we got the plan. I've given you a suggestion about these things, just a suggestion of a solution for it. And what we could do is we can get that area covered with some kind of announcement to let them know where they could go to put, to call to get that stuff. Don't just throw it out there and just think somebody's gonna come get it, but go, call the number yourself. You got the stuff, you want the stuff away. You got these big old beds and, all kinds of stuff they're setting out there, and they don't even care. And it's getting so it's not even good. It goes into the street and everything. So we need to give them something that they can, and not just them, because we don't know who it is. They do it at night when you're asleep. But we got owners of housing. We got owners of apartments. We got owners that can know what to do. We can get them notices to them to let them know. Let your tenants know. Don't just throw their stuff out in the street like that. You know, that's something we need to work on. If we want to, you know, build Long Beach back up, build it to where it needs to go, that's something I just observed over a period of, since from May to now, because I had to get my 10,000 steps in. So I just wanted to let you know what was going on, and I'll be here to help out. If I need to pass out the flyers too, I'll be here to do that.
All right, well, Dr. Long,
Yes, sir.
welcome back.
Thank you.
While you're getting those 10,000 steps in, have you heard of an app called Go Long Beach?
I will put it in.
Let's make sure my team shows you how to do it, because
Okay.
you can literally point, click, and send, and we have our own local refuse department and a clean team who will get out and pick up that dumped item.
Okay.
They shouldn't be dumped in the first place. but
Right.
In reality, close to the freeways, it happens a lot, alleys, a lot of that. So you can point and click, and the city team will show up and pick up that item.
Oh,
So
I
while
can
you're getting
point
those
and click when I'm
10,000,
doing
I'll
my
come do some of those
10,000
10,000 steps with you. I'll show you how to
that'll
do
work
it.
for me.
Thank you,
Okay,
Dr.
Thank
Long.
you so much.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you, everyone, for your time.
All right. Next is Renee Hernandez.
Good evening, Mayor Richardson and council members. I spoke briefly October 7th, but I'm a little more composed for this meeting. A little history about me. My name is Renee Hernandez. I'm 71 years old. I am a former RN who was injured on the job 27 years ago at a major university hospital in the East. I came to Long Beach with two plans, a plan A and a plan B. My plan A was to approach my multimillionaire daughter and her celebrity husband and beg them to help me. I've been battling homelessness since I became disabled some years ago, went through my funds, etc. I knew that was a long shot. My daughter hadn't spoken to me in 14 years. She lives here in Long Beach with her semi-famous husband. My plan B was to hopefully hook into homeless services and proper health care. I have a number of serious illnesses. Unfortunately, since I've been here, I was hit in a hit and run as a pedestrian. I'm recovering from that. I also did go to the multi-service center, and just from my experience in that situation, the case manager was horrific to me, did not treat me appropriately. I tried to go through the channels of getting that changed with that organization, and that didn't work. Unfortunately, every time I found out about another agency to go to, I would get robbed, I'd get hit. I've had multiple assaults. I was assaulted on the Long Beach Transit bus by two white men. Nothing was done about that. Bus drivers have been verbally abusive, horrific to me, even when I was in my wheelchair, which also was stolen from me. And it's been quite a challenge. I didn't want to add my own homelessness to a case to Long Beach, but I came here to save my life. I was in West Virginia last winter homeless, and it was extremely cold, and I did not think I would survive another winter there. So one of the things I would like to do, I hope to start, is a homeless support group with someone who is homeless, me, that will relate to other people, and hopefully maybe see something happen. I would like to be pointed to an appropriate agency that would help me. That would be great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Next speaker is Laura.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, step up to see one of the greatest crap shows on earth. Welcome to Long Beach, formerly a progressive city, now regressive. A city where ICE/kidnappers are allowed to sleep so they can rest up before they begin their day of taking and disappearing people off the streets. A city where this council, including the mayor, ignore the will of the people, a city where they canceled charity events where the money gained would have saved lives and families, a city where they write up cease and desist letters to the community and the community organizations for mutual aid and those who help the communities, a city where they tell your business how to conduct business by telling them who can and cannot play at their venue, a city where they change the rules to punish those that don't bend to their will. Can you say toxic toast records? A place where, quote unquote, city leaders would rather bury their heads in the sand than utter one word of solace to their constituents. A city where, again, city leaders like you, Mary Zendejas, who would rather cancel a sacred and honored tradition of celebrating Dia de los Muertos to capitulate those who really run our city. A city where more money is given for more of a police state than we already have. Well, bonus, using our tax dollars to do so. A city where the mayor would love to see every community have a Starbucks. Yes, a Starbucks. You know that gross, overly priced coffee that has been funding a genocide for over 2 years in Gaza, now in the West Bank of Palestine. That one. Bonus, this also does not promote small businesses. A city where the mayor still has an important job of promoting the Olympics, which really are democracies in shambles. But let's talk about a future we may not have. Now, this may sound morbid, but this can be our future if we all do not stand up to this tyrannical regime right now. Rex and the rest of you on this council, these are the demands. It is your responsibility and your job to keep your constituents safe. Actually, no, not constituents, your Long Beach family, safe from these ice holes. That's what I call them. We need for you to pass an agenda and make it so that ICE/DHS/La Migra take off their mask. And I do understand that that's supposed to happen in the state of California in 2026, but you guys need to pass one as well, because I know the city of San Jose has. Again, taking off their masks, making it illegal to wear one, and start arresting them as they do not show warrants.
Ma'am, your
None
time's
of them
concluded.
show warrants. Okay, just a minute or two.
Ma'am, your time's concluded.
Thank you for your time.
It's okay. It's okay. So anyways, and start arresting these ISIL. Kick them out of our city. Let's make Long Beach an ICE-free city.
Thank you for your testimony.
ICE-free city. ICE-free city.
All right. Thank you for your testimony. All right. Thank you. All right. Next, we have Jennifer Harper.
All right, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Ciao for now.
Yeah, this is a WIA notice for a different community. So I know we all got the notice. Jennifer, you have the floor.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Jennifer Harper. I live and work in Long Beach, and like you, I serve the community in a number of ways. Thank you for your leadership and efforts to build a safer, healthier, and more equitable Long Beach. You have made efforts to expand early childhood initiatives, to support small businesses, and prioritize community well-being. I've seen you bring partners together when faced with a crisis. You are strategic, determined, and you are leaders of this city during a very important time. We are relying on you to continue to set an example and help our community navigate uncertainty and develop thoughtful strategies and next steps. I am deeply concerned regarding ICE activity affecting our neighborhoods. I come to you today because I'm feeling despair, exhaustion, fear, as we watch our community members being kidnapped and brutalized, as we watch people stay home and lose their income, lose their food benefits, their emotional well-being. We cannot stand idly by. ICE is causing direct harm to individuals, tearing apart families, increasing fear and instability for all residents and employees, including hardworking parents and children who call Long Beach home. We respectfully urge City Council to take all possible steps to protect not just our immigrant community, but all people, to uphold our values and ensure families feel safe, dignified, and valued in this place we call home. I've heard you say that we don't control the federal government, we don't control ICE, we don't control the National Guard, we don't control the president, they don't notify us when they come into town. Well, you don't control forest fires, you don't control COVID, you don't control violent crime, you don't control the unhoused, you don't control a possible federal funding freeze, and yet you have called a state of emergency, you'd called listening groups, you invested time, energy, funding. You responded, you spoke up, you created policies, coordinated action. It is time to listen, to act, to collaborate. We are scared. People can't go to work. They can't feed their children. They can't care for their loved ones. The time to act is now. Do not wait until ICE breaks down our doors. We can't wait. We have to respond. We have to protect our own. We must work together.
All right. Thank you for your testimony. Are you finished?
Well, I'd also just like to express my request that you agendize and adopt the civil human rights and screening policy also.
Thanks for your testimony. Jennifer, as a local leader, I invite you to talk with Paul about our Defending Our Values plan and the $5 million that the city council allocated in the budget, the largest allocation of any city in LA County. So I want to make sure you're up to speed on those steps proactively the city is taking. All right, next is Chriselle.
Hi, Honorable Mayor Rex Richardson, City Council, and Mary Zendejas. Peace. I like you. Okay, I have a question for the city attorney that comes from, it's about ICE, from the Boston mayor. Okay, they're poaching LBPD. Yeah, they are. They're not giving the bonuses. No, they're not. And so apparently, the mayor of Boston said, well, they could, the city could be sued. Yeah, can they? That's a simple, it may take a while. I'll be back. Also, I'm here to speak about homelessness, because I'm old, and I've only helped, 1,600 homeless people, and I'm gonna be that way, and that's how it goes. Oh yeah, you heard me, honey. That's what I did. Do you doubt me? Okay, I don't think you're funny. I'm not laughing, because that's where I'm gonna be. You walk a mile in my shoes, and then you can laugh, because it isn't funny. Yeah, I see you. And I support homeless vets and all that. I've only taken care of a number of them, but oh well. If I can do that, why can't the city of Long Beach do that? That's what I'm asking. If this elderly disabled woman can do that and feed people, why can't the city of Long Beach? And when I move to Costa Rica, we're gonna go full raging grannies on y'all, with some ex-Vietnam vets backing us up. John Cleese, full raging grannies, Monty Python. If you don't know the reference, look it up. Killer attack bunny rabbits, look out.
Thanks, Rochelle. All right, next is Rachel W.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is the first time I've ever spoken in a 36-year history of living in Long Beach. I'm going to start out by reading an email that I sent to your office, Mayor Richardson, on June 24th. We're going to go back in time about 5 months and see what, if anything, has happened and what was maybe prophecy. Dear Mayor Richardson, I'm a Long Beach resident of 36 years, and I am deeply disturbed by the lack of action taken to proactively protect myself, my family, friends, neighbors, and all residents and visitors to our city from racial profiling and warrantless arrest by supposed federal agents. It's fairly well known by now, these are not all federal agents. no matter who they are not acting within the confines of state and federal law. It's bad enough the city is making them welcome at our hotels and restaurants, but it is not proactively ordering or directing law enforcement to patrol, intervene, and protect your residents. They haven't hit Long Beach hard yet, but we'd be pretty foolish to believe they won't, and soon. Our U.S. senators were on the Senate floor this week demanding answers about who these masked, armed, unidentifiable agents really are. Our state representatives are asking the same. We now know there has been legislation passed about this. If these agents cannot and will not act within the law, they need to be held accountable, and you cannot wait until they've terrorized our city on the same level they have been elsewhere. In addition to racial profiling and violently assaulting and abducting even U.S. citizens, they create panic and danger with the way they drive, car accidents, the brandishing of firearms.
Can you guys look at her? She's
on our
talking to you guys
streets.
right now. Mayor Rex Richardson. She's your constituent.
One person at a time. Thank you.
And again, this was in June. I just watched the most violent of incidents that occurred this morning in downtown LA. A man was racially profiled with no warrant, jumped and beaten by at least 5 masked and armed men. He suffered a grand mal seizure. This is on film. And what happened right after that was a young woman named Andrea Velez, a U.S. citizen, was beaten and attacked by one of these agents. Meanwhile, she managed to get away. She was brought to a Long Beach PD officer, LAPD officer, who gave her back to that agent. So this is what I asked in June. I want to know if Long Beach PD is going to respond if we call 911. Now, today I went to a coffee and meet a cop at the Bellflower and Spring Target, which was actually a really good experience, and I want to commend the department and the city for holding these. Because what has happened between June and now is horrendous within the city. We have known men who assault women, who hold them at gunpoint.
Ma'am,
in
your time's
Santa Ana,
concluded.
and then they're living right here. And may I just add one more thing? My specific
Thank you.
question.
You can conclude.
Okay, may I conclude
You
really
can
quick?
conclude.
My main question going to the Target meet and greet today was to ask what would happen if my car gets rammed into in that Target parking lot and my car is driven away with my child in it, as what happened a week ago in Los Angeles. And I really, really want you guys to put back on into the Long Beach Values Act or add it that Long Beach PD can investigate and arrest and prosecute these guys.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
testimony. All right, next is Francesca. All right, thanks for being patient.
Thank you. Hi, I'm a Long Beach resident, and I'm here to advocate for City Council members to agendize and adopt the Civil and Human Rights Screening Policy, previously presented to the Equity and Human Relations Commission by Long Beach Area Peace Network, and supported by a coalition of Long Beach residents. This policy would require the screening of all investments to ensure that our investments align with our city values and reinforces the city's standing commitments to ethical governance. Our city's values statement commits to operating equitably, ethically, and works to promote and preserve public trust and confidence. And that's exactly the spirit of this screening policy. The policy is about integrity, transparency, equity, and accountability, all characteristics the city commits to embracing in our code of conduct and ethics. This policy aligns with existing equitable city initiatives like the Grow Long Beach Economic Blueprint, the Long Beach Values Act, and the Racial Equity and Reconciliation Initiative. This policy strengthens community trust and engagement, positions the city as regional leaders, and aligns with the commitments the city already established. We appreciate that Mayor Richardson proudly proclaimed that our budget reflects our community's values, as it should. And we ask that to adopt this policy that would ensure our investments also reflect our values. I also want to acknowledge that this policy would end contradictory investments misaligned with our city's values. For example, if we're claiming to advocate for establish more climate change friendly initiatives, then our investments should match that. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the importance of adopting policies like this one that asks for accountability from our governing bodies. This comes at a crucial time when people fear their civil and human rights are at risk, and we watch daily how masked people are allowed to violently kidnap and/or attack people in our streets with no regulation and zero consequences. Residents are begging government representatives to do more to protect them. We're begging you to take more action to adopt policies that are proactive rather than be on the defense. It's clear that residents want more action, and for this reason, I ask that the city adopt policies that actively protect our communities. I come here asking to adopt policies that actively reflect our values. And I do appreciate the city agendized an item tonight to address the concerns of Belmont Shore residents. And I just ask that the city responds to masked ICE agents attacking and terrorizing our community with that same urgency. And I also ask the city think innovatively about how our investments reflect our values with that exact same urgency. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Stephen Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here on behalf of the homeless in Long Beach in regards to the cleanup protocols that they're doing. Right now, the cleanup team and the police officers are just pulling up on spots that are non-posted and taking their tents, their blankets. They did it to me 4 times in the past 3 weeks. I've also filed with the city tree a claim when they came up on me. I was at Golden Park over here, which is open 24 hours a day. I set up a tent. All my stuff was in the tent. I went to use the bathroom at Cesar Chavez. I come back and I see 2 of my bikes in a trash truck being destroyed. In the tent contained my wallet, my money, and everything else I own. And they did it again today. There was 2 times prior to that, after that. But today, I went to multi-service center and come back and all my stuff's been taken out of the park too and thrown in a trash truck. This is personal property. The city don't decide what is personal property. I could have a house full of property over there. As long as I'm moving it when I'm supposed to, I can have whatever I want. That's according to the federal law. And then you have the 4th and 14th Amendment, seizure of property. They're not following protocol. And there's 2 people in the audience that I don't even know that also witnessed the clean team stealing people's property out of backpacks, putting it in their pockets. I observed this myself several times as an advocate. I spoke to the police about it and they just turned their back. You know, they're segregating our property and taking it home with them. I've seen them put it between the seats. It's not fair. And your protocol says when the city can enforce rules about public space use, enforcement is limited to constitutional protections. For example, a city cannot ban all public camping if there is no shelter beds. There are no shelter beds, but yet they're still pulling up on our encampments and taking our stuff. What's wrong with that? We're losing our property daily. What can you guys do about it? I'd like to see one person, the council represent one employee to be an in-between watching and observing, at least for a few weeks, what these cleanup teams are doing. It's not cool. I've already filed with the city attorney for my property once. I have a statement from a female in here that was with me. I walked to the damn bathroom over at Cesar Chavez, came back and my stuff's in a trash truck. And then one of them picked up my backpack that I had just taken off and he was about ready to put it in the trash truck. There's something wrong with that, Mayor, Council. What can you do about it?
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. You have 30 more seconds. Someone can talk to you after if you
All
want
right.
to
Thank
get
you,
some
Mayor.
questions. Thanks
I
so
got some
much.
ideas for you, too. Some good
Appreciate
ones.
you. I appreciate you. Eris Williams.
Pardon me for a moment. Good evening, Long Beach City Council. I'm grateful for the time to speak at your meeting today. I'd like to bring attention to the arts here in our community. Art is extremely important here. I grew up in a space where it wasn't as valued and artists like me were judged or teased, but now I attend Renaissance High School for the Arts here in downtown Long Beach, where we have built a home and an artistic community, a place where artists from all walks of life can come together and be expressive and make art. It brings so much joy and inspiration to myself and others here. I've learned so many things there and in Long Beach, including about how much art matters and why it is so important. Art as its form of expression, it connects our consciousness to the true human experience and makes us feel less alone in the world. Starting pitch. Do.
Let's hear it for Renaissance High School. Just what we needed tonight was a flash mob. Exactly what we needed. Let's hear it for our young people from the city of Long Beach. Outstanding. Outstanding. Thank you so much. All right, before we go back to public comment, I just want to acknowledge just how incredible that was. We didn't look at the clock on that. These young people took time, they practiced, they came down because this is the people's house, it's also their house. That said, as we transition back to public comment, I will remind folks, this is First Amendment, and the reality is there's cameras here tonight. Some people come to council meetings to get reactions and say very extreme things, despite who may be in the audience, whether it's young people or whatever. So I encourage you, don't react when you hear some of those things, because we don't want to necessarily give the platform that folks are looking for. So that said, let's continue public comment. Next is Cash.
In the case number, for the record, 24 STCV 16690, Abraham Cruz plaintiff versus Radecki and Corey Moss, the mayor of Industry. Now, for those of you in the audience who don't believe this, corruption is in every city. Let me read into this record one line, and you decide if it's criminally wrong. Defendant Ruggles, a council member, as well as his grandmother, Andrea Welch, have lifetime health benefits from serving on the city council or planning commission. That's one case. The second case, Gabriela Leos versus the city of Almonte, Jessica Ancuna. Ancuna, the mayor, has a relationship with Almonte Flores gang members. Now, does that surprise any of you here today? Should it surprise anyone here today that in Cudahy, we have a mayor who hates law enforcement? So the problem tonight, as in many other problems, like the Bellshore problem, is that we have criminals at local level government. And Channel 7, Fox News, you heard the cases on the record, look them up. They're facts. When you have a sitting mayor using gang members to threaten members of the public not to show up in person like I'm doing here tonight, exercising my First Amendment, despite the mayor's prior impermissible restraints. Oh, be cautious of this man's language. Oh, he speaks vulgarities. Oh, he's offensive. No, motherfucker. I'm speaking reality. That's the reason why tomorrow, off of Spring and Broadway, or First and Broadway, I should say, David O. Carter is going to bring attention to the world about homelessness, the crisis between Los Angeles County and the city of Los Angeles, stealing millions and millions of your tax-paying dollars. And for those of you who have jobs, those of you who work, you're paying for it. So David O. Carter has something to surprise you with. You're all welcome to attend. It's at the federal building, Obama. And maybe you can learn what the judge has in sight for criminal corruption by a local government agency, abuse, waste, and fraud against people, against your own fucking people, Mayor. As you heard multiple people tonight speak about homelessness and the crisis involved in it.
Thank you for your testimony.
Yes.
That is
for
your
the
time.
record, here you go.
That is your time, sir. All right, that concludes public comment. We will now move on to the regular agenda. We're going to go to item 38, please. No, item 39, please.
Item 39, a report from Human Resources, recommendation to adopt a resolution approving the 2025 to 2028 Memorandum of Understanding with the Long Beach Firefighters Association, citywide.
All right. Tonight's an important night. one of the most important things we're going to do tonight is approve our next agreement with our Long Beach firefighters. We want to thank our firefighters for coming to the table and working with the city of Long Beach. There's a lot of things that's notable you hear about, but the one thing that stands out that's most notable about this agreement is that they made a little bit of history. For the first time, the firefighters came to the table and said, sure, we prioritize, pay and well-being and all of those things and working conditions, but we also are prioritizing services. And so as a part of this, there's new enhancements that are a part of this contract. So I'm going to pass it on to new enhancements that improve response times in our city for the first time that we've talked about. So we're going to pass it to city staff.
Yes, Sarah Green from Human Resources.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, the City and the Firefighters Association successfully worked together to reach a tentative agreement regarding changes in wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment for the approximately 411 employees in this bargaining unit. This agreement, as you mentioned, is a historic deal, which focuses not only on pay increases, but also on enhancing fire department resources to respond to the increased calls of service from the city's constituents. As a result, the parties have agreed to add a full-time paramedic rescue to meet the ongoing needs of the public. Thank you to both of our fire department and the FFA negotiations team for their work and support of this agreement. As a result of the tentative agreement, a successor memorandum of understanding has been reached, which is before you this evening for adoption. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take some council commentary. Vice Mayor Uranga.
No real comment here. I have to say that I'm very pleased and happy that we were able to complete this negotiation. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Kerr.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate the city team and the Firefighters Association on their great coordination and collaboration in this process. I want to thank all of the members of the Firefighter Association who have come to this council to share their concerns over the last several months and help to contribute to a really rich conversation. Thank you.
Councilmember Thrashin-Took.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I'm very proud to support this agreement. And I just wanted to speak directly to the members of our Long Beach Firefighters Association. We are deeply grateful to you, and I extend my sincere thanks for the very long shifts, the selfless work, the unwavering courage that you show throughout our city every single day. You're the ones running towards danger when everyone else is running away. And this agreement is a crucial, necessary step in honoring your service. Just yesterday, I had the privilege of touring several of our stations. Shout out to those who were able to receive me at Station 12, Station 11, Station 7, and to those at our outstanding training center. I saw the complex equipment and facilities, but most importantly, had a chance to speak with some of our firefighters while they were on shift. This memorandum of understanding, we believe, has been reached in good faith with the negotiations, and just so very proud that our city family, as well as our firefighters, were able to come to a conclusion. I do want to note that part of my visit yesterday did highlight the urgent and undeniable challenge of making sure that we have firefighters who are able to fight 21st century firefighting while they are managing through 20th century facilities. So I know some of my colleagues and myself certainly want to continue to find ways to invest in the capital improvements that I know will be needed to ensure that we have safe and modern facilities going forward. We want to make sure that you are able to get, be comfortable so that you can go out and do that work going forward. So for tonight, I'm a proud yes on tonight's item number 39. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Zendejas.
Thank you. I echo the comments of my colleagues. I also want to congratulate city staff and our fire department for coming to this great MOU. I also want to be thankful for all that you do for the city of Long Beach, for your residents, and in an everyday kind of way, but also our fire department is so involved with our community and always ready to give back to our community. Just here in the 1st District alone, we have lattes and ladders coming up this Saturday, which I'm so excited about for my residents to enjoy being and learning about our fire stations. We also have probably the most fire stations in District 1 than the whole entire city, so very proud of that too. Also, they always supporting our events like Skate Jam, where they provided lots of hot dogs to our kids that were there and their families. So always really happy to have them there. They're also a big partners with us for our toy giveaways at our parks at Gunbinder Park, and so it's always very important to recognize not only the day-to-day work that our fire department does in saving lives, but also how much they actually give back to the community. So thank you.
All right, good stuff. So I'm going to ask City Manager just a couple questions. So once this is ratified, what's the next step in terms of adding additional resources?
Yeah, we expect to be able to report on that very quickly. So probably in the next 1 to 2 to 3 weeks. We're doing the final data analysis now about where we can put those extra 6 FTE, which is the equivalent of a rescue, and how we'll be able to put that out. That'll be public, and then we'll be able to get that going right away. So our firefighters have been getting ready to staff that up, and we'll be excited to get that service in service soon.
It's incredible news. So in the next few weeks, we'll be able to announce a new paramedic rescue expansion that we would not have been done if it hadn't been for the attention being placed on paramedic rescues and our firefighters stepping forward. So thanks a lot. We're going to go to public comment. I see no public comment, but I do see the president of our firefighters here in the room, Lamont. Come on down, Lamont. You're not going to hide in the back. No pressure. It's called being voluntold.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, city management, and staff. On behalf of the Long Beach firefighters, I want to thank you for your partnership and leadership in reaching this historic agreement. For the first time, our contract doesn't just invest in our members, it invests in our community through the addition of the full-time rescue. It truly strengthens our 911 system and improves our response time citywide. And as you remember us being here back in March, we've just kind of carried this conversation forward. And so developing this strategic partnership was critical to how we actually make progress. This agreement reflects what's possible when we move beyond doing more with less, and commit to building a safer, stronger, more resilient Long Beach. So, as I said here a few months ago back in March, what keeps us up at night, it's not the hours or the calls, it's the thought of not getting there in time when someone needs us most. And this puts us at the table where now we are actually providing a solution. So thank you again for your partnership and your dedication to our community.
All right, and again, in the 15 years I've worked for the city, not once have I ever seen this level of support and partnership to restore services in a contract. So we want to thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
All right. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
All right, thank you. We're going to do the lifeguard contract, and then we're going to get to the Belmont Shore item. So that's item 40.
Report from Human Resources, recommendation to adopt a resolution approving the 2025 to 2028 Memorandum of Understanding with the Long Beach Lifeguard Association, citywide.
All right, and likewise, we want to thank our lifeguards for their partnership. We have, 7.5, 8 miles of beach, 9 miles of coastline in our city, and we know that the challenges are increasing with increased rainfall. We have a atmospheric river coming in this week. That just means for Long Beach, at the southern end of 2 rivers and multiple watersheds, there's even more demands on our lifeguards. So to have their partnership is incredibly important because our #1 priority is to keep people safe. So we're going to go to staff for their report.
Yes, Sarah Green.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, the City and the Lifeguards Association successfully worked together to reach a tentative agreement regarding changes in wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment for the approximately 211 employees in this bargaining unit. The agreement provides for salary increases and incentives aiming at improving workforce retention. This agreement includes a new education pay for lifeguard non-careers to serve as a recruitment and retention incentive. Thank you to both our fire department and the LGA negotiations team for their work and support for this agreement. As a result of the tentative agreement, a successor memorandum of understanding has been reached, which is before you this evening for adoption. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, maker of the motion. We have Councilmember Zadejas.
Very proud to support this MOU as well. So very proud of our lifeguards, especially in the being a beach city. That is really important. So very supportive.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Kerr.
Yes, proud to support this. We know our lifeguards are part of our comprehensive public safety team and plan in the city, and really proud to work alongside them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Is there any public comment here? Seeing none, members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Item 37, please.
Communication from Councilmember Duggan. Recommendation to request city manager to return within 45 days with a late night public safety plan for the Belmont Shore Commercial Corridor that explores options for a temporary 1-year moratorium on the operation of bars and alcohol serving establishments in Belmont Shore after midnight, provides the feasibility and cost associated with reestablishing LBPD walking beats during high traffic hours and reactivating the police substation in Belmont Shore, implements additional DUI enforcement in Belmont Shore at regular intervals aligned with peak egress times of bar patrons, and enhances targeted late-night enforcement of nuisance issues, including public drinking and unauthorized vendor operations.
Thank you. We're going to go to Councilmember Duggan.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to my city council colleagues for taking the time tonight to have this important discussion. Every council member works really hard to address district-specific issues within their own office and in their district. This is one I've taken as far as I can take without broader support from full council and discussion. I want to begin by framing this discussion since it's a district-specific issue. I'm not here tonight to try and solve every public safety issue in the city or Belmont Shore, because we all know there are challenges that go beyond the late-night bar crowd. We know every district is facing its own public safety issues, and it's important to recognize that some neighborhoods have root causes that are much more complex than what we are discussing tonight. This conversation isn't meant to take away from those efforts, but it's meant to highlight one area that I truly believe we can get under control without taking away from other areas. So I'm going to start with what the city can do, and then talk about what's happening with the bars and the collaboration that's happening there. Over the past few years since I've been in office, I've heard loud and clear from residents that late night issues in Belmont Shore have intensified. They're more frequent, more disruptive, and harder to manage. I live in Belmont Shore too. I've seen the change firsthand since I moved here in 1999. What used to be a neighborhood and business corridor with shops, restaurants, and nightlife has shifted into more of a regional nightlife destination. That shift has brought serious challenges in a time when we are struggling with a staffing shortage of police officers. This past Friday night, I spent from 11 p.m. until almost 1 a.m. with one of my staff members on 2nd Street, because I believe seeing firsthand is the best way to know what is really going on. I want to thank our officers for being out there. They were posted up often, driving around. I will say, though, what I saw was concerning. There were 5 different, I don't know if you call them bands or artists, set up playing amplified music at different intersections. These bands could be heard down streets, halfway up the blocks. Imagine that when you're living, the neighborhood, just so everyone understands, 2nd Street is backed up to an alley and then into the residential area. The music was loud, and it continued for most of the time I was out there. I also saw at least 5 pop-up restaurants and several vendors, and then people going to the liquor stores and buying more alcohol. There were hundreds of people on the sidewalks and in the street. I counted at least 20 open alcoholic containers while I was walking. That night, somewhat felt under control because of the significant police presence. But the reality is, on most weekends, we don't have the police presence we had over the weekend. Typically, there's one officer working the entire area, and sometimes, because we do have that shortage of officers, there are priority calls. And for our division, officers get called to those priority calls. That happens even if there's a couple of hundred people out on 2nd Street after midnight, listening to music, drinking, eating, gathering in public parking lots, and along the sidewalks. All of the activity is happening in public spaces that fall under the jurisdiction of the Long Beach Police Department and not the nearby businesses. The bars can't control public property or manage crowds 2 blocks from their business. Tom, I have a question for you. Can you discuss how live performers with amplified music are currently managed and enforced within the city, especially those operating after midnight?
I'd have to ask our police department to weigh in on that. I'm not sure we have details on that yet. You and I chatted about that in the briefing, and then we'd have to look to see what police can do and what health does. It is kind of a sticky area of the code.
Chief, do you have input on that, please?
Just to echo the city manager's statement, that is a collaborative effort with not only the health department, but also the city attorney's office to ensure that the decibel level is within the threshold that's allowed in our city.
But can your officers cite if they see that there is a business not blocking the sidewalk, but obviously sitting there making very loud noise with their music and their singing?
That's a very general question, council member. They can cite if somebody's peace is disturbed and somebody is willing to be a victim of that. So there's various ordinances that they can issue citations for. If there is a law on the books, an ordinance on the books, and somebody willing to be a victim, our officers can and do cite when appropriate.
So I asked special events just because this happens during special events, and I understand that a decibel reader is not necessary if there is citing, but you're saying, Chief, that there has to be a victim to have a citation for this sort of incident.
Yes, council member. As police officers, our peace cannot be disturbed.
All right, I have another question, Chief. Can you speak to the direction that is given to officers when it comes to handling open containers in public?
So it's situation specific, and officers have discretion to problem solve. So if there's an issue with open containers, they have the ability to cite somebody for drinking in public. They balance that with the needs of the community, the calls for service that they're managing, and the workload. So if there's a specific problem and an open container is part of that problem, they have the discretion and the ability to issue citations. They are not given specific direction to go out and issue a certain number of citations or citations for a specific violation. but we have officers assigned to specific areas, and part of their mission is to ensure that they're problem solving, addressing crime, reducing crime, and enhancing safety in the areas that they're responsible for. And that involves a variety of different strategies and tactics to help make our city safe.
So in the situation where we have additional staffing on 2nd Street because of the incident that happened several weeks ago, I realize that the officers have discretion. In this situation, there were so many open containers. Would there be a reason in this particular operation on 2nd Street that they wouldn't cite?
I would have to speak to the division commander and the patrol deputy chief and see what those circumstances were. It would be very difficult for me to speak to an incident that I wasn't actually briefed on or involved in. And so they have the ability to cite for misdemeanors and infractions, and they have the discretion, and they're empowered to use that discretion as well when it's appropriate. So if there's a specific need, that's something I'd have to talk to the division commander about, who's responsible for overseeing that area.
Great, thank you. I think it's something that needs a targeted effort because we're seeing it on 2nd Street, but along with the DUI enforcement. I know several weeks ago, council approved the receipt of a grant for DUI enforcement. So it's one of the things in my item. We can manage the drinking at bars, but we can't have people drinking in public and then getting in their cars. So for the additional walking beats and substation, it's important for us to understand the feasibility and what it would take. And I know this isn't an ask for resources right now. I'm not asking for this right now because I know resources are limited, but this is the information that I want to have in the return to council so council colleagues can understand what it would take. It's good information for us to know and our partners in this to find a path that's an amenable path to council. Now, turning to the bars, the bar operation, and the progress that's being made there. From the beginning, I said I wanted this time to be different. We've had 3 homicides in less than 18 months on 2nd Street. And I didn't want just a few weeks of increased police presence and then go back to the same situation. Now, people who have dealt with the late night issues for decades know that the city can't just change their operating requirements. Some of these bars have been operating for more than 60 years with the same requirements grandfathered in decades ago. These requirements are passed down to different owners, and the city doesn't have a lot of power to change them. So when I first started drafting this item, I included a proposal to explore a temporary 1-year moratorium on alcohol serving establishments operating after midnight. The city couldn't pinpoint an issue to an individual establishment and their operations, or have enough evidence to permanently change operating requirements. So I proposed what we could likely justify, and that was a temporary moratorium for safety reasons. The idea was to take a short pause while we work towards long-term solutions. Over the past 2 weeks, but especially the last week or so, I've met with city staff and the bar owners and operators in Belmont Shore. City staff was able to explain that a 1-year moratorium would take months to properly structure and implement. This is a very heavy lift for a temporary solution. I've said from the beginning that I'm looking for permanent solutions. All of the bar owners have come forward agreeing to impose permanent operating requirements to improve safety and address issues along the corridor. The bar owners and operators all agreed to voluntarily close at midnight for 30 days while we work together residents, businesses, and city staff to develop these permanent operating requirements for businesses selling alcohol that stay open late. I want to emphasize to staff that residents are an important part of this process. The people who live near 2nd Street experience these impacts all the time, and their input will help guide the solutions that last. Our residents have been at the table demanding change for decades, and I appreciate that all parties are now at the table willing to make long-term changes. The goal is to create a long-term solution. Solutions, I should say, instead of temporary ones, and to regain control of an environment that's gotten out of hand. For the over 200 businesses and residents on 2nd Street who are feeling the effect of unsafe conditions, and it's hard for businesses to continue their retail shops if there's an unsafe reputation, taking this pause so operation requirements can be formalized and consequently enforced is the goal. I'm amending my item based off the work over the past week. I motion to direct the city manager to work with the city attorney and businesses that sell alcohol and are open after midnight in Belmont Shore to establish formal operating requirements that increase safety and security while ensuring there is a community engagement process. Provide the feasibility and cost associated with reestablishing LBPD walking beats during high traffic hours and reactivating the police substation in Belmont Shore. Implement additional DUI enforcement in Belmont Shore at regular intervals aligned with peak egress times of bar patrons. Enhance targeted late-night enforcement of nuisance issues, including public drinking and unauthorized vendor operations. This change, because the bar owners and operators have voluntarily, they've listened to the community. We have been working together frequently. Lots of conversations have happened. So this 30 days willingness to close their establishments at midnight is part of what I'm bringing forward. Mayor, I think if my council colleagues have comments or public
I
comment.
think the public's ready to comment.
All right.
Let's go to the
Let's
public.
hear the public.
All right. Madam Clerk, you want to facilitate public comment?
Do we have one?
Yes, so I'll call the first 10 speakers. You will have 60 seconds. We do have over 20 speakers for this item. The first speaker is Karen Reside, and then Michael Anderson, Julie Dean, Brian Cochran, Jeff Cozart, Keith Mason, Valali O'Donnell, Katie Fahey, Steve, and Nikki Clare. Will the first 10 speakers please line up?
All right, you're recognized.
Karen Reside, president of the Long Beach Gray Panthers. This is an issue that is really important. It's not just Belmont Shore. I'm surprised there haven't been more homicides. I used to live around the corner from the V-Bar on 4th Street. And there are a number of sober living houses on that street, and I used to regularly watch the people bring alcohol into the sober living homes on Fridays and Saturday nights. I knew every Friday and Saturday night I was going to be awakened around 2 o'clock when the bars closed. The bars routinely overserve. If you give a tip to a bartender, they're going to serve you alcohol, no matter what their training is. This is a major problem. There's also the trains where people come from outside our community to participate in this area. I think the broader issue is how we look at alcohol. And we need to really look at that as a city. Who needs alcohol after midnight? People that have a problem. So let's not encourage that. Let's change the way we look at alcohol. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Next is Michael.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson. I
Michael
am
and
new
then
to Long
Julie.
Beach. Good to see you, and thank you for all you do. I moved here from Ohio 4 years ago because my 2 kids were here. We came out and visited, loved the community. It's a great place. I've lived all over the world, and this is a great place, but it needs a little help. I've been in my home for 2 years. I live on Prospect between 2nd Street and East Livingston. So when the bars empty out, boom, they go by my house. We've had 7 major incidents in the last 2 years since I've lived there. 1 car racing through our brick wall that protects our front yard into the front yard, drunk driver. Second one was somebody knocked over the light pole on the other side of the house, drunk driver. My neighbor's car got hit. My kids, each of my 2 kids' separate incidences got hit by drunk drivers, and they left. They were hit and runs, right? Each one of these was a hit and run. It's dangerous. There's nobody to stop them.
Sir,
And
your
then
time's
East Livingston
concluded.
becomes a racetrack. So these are some of the things.
Sir, I'm sorry, your time's concluded.
Thank you for your testimony. All right, Julie.
Julie Dean.
Before I start, can I ask you, how many speakers are there?
There's over 20 speakers. We have 21 currently signed up.
And so what's the cutoff for 60 seconds versus 90?
It's at the chair's discretion. So if we can,
So historically, we've done at 10 speakers. It goes to 90 seconds, 20 and more, 60 seconds.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name's Julie Dean, and I'm a resident of Belmont Shore, a small, dense neighborhood with a mix of residents and local businesses, primarily lining 2nd Street. Our own local coastal program, adopted by our city council and certified by the Coastal Commission of California, clearly states that the unique character of the shopping district in Belmont Shore should be preserved. It should not emphasize region-serving facilities, but rather should be developed to serve the residents of the area. Retail shops, which encourage foot traffic, shall be the predominant uses. We are not, and under this plan cannot become an entertainment district, yet that's exactly where we're heading. We now have far too many liquor licenses, too few meaningful conditional use restrictions, and little to no enforcement of the ones that exist. As Councilwoman Duggan said last week, Belmont Shore is not the same entertainment district as downtown. I do not want the same zoning as downtown. I want regulations that have teeth in them that can be enforced.
Thank you for your testimony. Brian?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Jeremy Spears died adjacent to 2nd Street on October 22nd, a fatal gunshot after a dispute that originated in a bar. But his death was preventable because a year ago we'd already seen 2 violent deaths related to 2nd Street bars, and safer times were promised. The bar owners said they would enact new lasting safety measures. We saw police bike patrols for about a month. Tonight, let's start to change the culture on 2nd Street permanently. Can we start with our city officials and police department making it standard practice to identify which bars these violent incidents are connected to? How about instead of our council member meeting privately with the bar owners to hear what they're willing to do, we have the bar owners assembled to listen to the community? Can we change that culture? Can we stop throwing parking meter funds into private security theater for which no efficacy data exists? Can we let non-bar owners and residents off the hook to pay for security necessitated by bars that operate too late and overserve their patrons? That's a culture change. Can we stop granting new and expanding existing liquor license on 2nd Street against ABC recommendations?
Sir, your time's concluded.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Jeff? Jeff, you're up. You got the floor, Jeff.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I own a couple of businesses on 2nd Street. Both of them closed before midnight. Doesn't really affect my personal well-being, my income. However, everything that Councilmember Duggan has proposed, I think is awesome and needed. One thing I think that is being too almost cherry-picked to explain the issues that we're dealing with are the late-night bars. It's pretty obvious what's changed. You know, it's the lack of police presence. And it's not, you know, these bars have been open, like you said, Mr. Mayor, for decades, or somebody said. But in the last several years, we've had issues. The issues has been the city's problem in trying to get it staffed. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. I know there's a shortage of policemen. Just please do whatever you can to get us more help, and it will be good for everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Next is Keith. Are you Valley? I'm Valley. You're Valley? Okay, I have Keith and Valley, then Katie. Okay, Keith.
I heard my name, but I didn't know where I was.
Sure thing. No sweat.
Thank you for hearing me this evening. I'm a resident of Belmont Shore. I love the community. I really like the fact that it's a residential commercial area. It's one of the things that really appeals to me and why I live there. It's really clear to me that the restaurants are not the problem, but it's a few bad actors. And what really would be a great solution is to have more police. But I also live in the real world and know that that's not really an option to have more police on the street. And so based on that, I'm really happy to hear that the businesses agreed to do a temporary moratorium and close after midnight. I think it's a great first step, and certainly I would be great to see what are the results that come from that. But I don't think that should be.
All right. Have a good night. All right. We'll give you a few more seconds back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think it would be great to move forward. Mayor, I'm gonna quote you. Belmont Shore is a residential neighborhood first, and our residents deserve peace and safety in their own community. So I really ask the City Council to move forward on that action. Thank you, Mayor.
Certainly. Thanks a lot. All right, Valley. After Valley is Katie, then Steve.
Something that's resonated throughout this entire evening was that everyone, in one manner or another, has talked about both their personal and public safety. And so I'd like to, first of all, thank you for having us here this evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. And I would like to talk about public safety because I don't believe it's optional. I believe it's the foundation of a livable neighborhood. And so what we're asking tonight is, will you stand by us? Will you help us? Because we have worked with 3 mayor's offices, 3 city council, and we are still dealing with the same issues over and over again after 30 years. And we've done everything requested of us. So we do believe at this point it's unacceptable to have something that's not actionable and measurable. And so we absolutely appreciate and support the fact that Christina Duggan has brought this to the City Council this evening, and we are really appreciative of the bars voluntarily closing at midnight for the next 30 days, but we would request that it be extended to 90 days because there needs to be time to evaluate the effectiveness of that. And we absolutely applaud the idea of using both the public and the businesses together and city
Ma'am,
to
your
work
time's
together
concluded.
to come up with a solution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next is Katie, Steve, then Nikki.
Thank you for having us here tonight and giving us a forum to talk about this that we've been dealing with for years and battling. And I've been here before, stabbings, fights, now it's murders. And it's my kids that I'm fighting for and my neighbors. The current atmosphere is chaotic. I worry about my kids coming home from late at night. I worry about myself coming home at night. The owners at Legends and Dogs are changing their restaurants into clubs at night. They stack their chairs, move their tables, change the lighting and music. The music is so loud that it vibrates the walls of my house. There need to be rules about how they operate. There needs to be consequences if they are violating rules. I know the police are stretched thin. The Business Association admitted that we need police. The neighbors know we do. If we don't have enough police, then we don't have a nighttime scene on 2nd Street.
Thank you. Steve, Nikki, then I'll read the next 10.
Hi, Steve Honig. Rex, Christine, I need your help to approve what she wants. Time is out. I've heard from the police chief, I've heard from everybody, 30 years, it's gonna change. It hasn't. 3 murders, unacceptable. Something your attorneys and the smart guys can figure out is the people who own these bars and own the property need to start being held accountable for what's going on in their bars. I want you guys to take an action and do something about it. Don't just sit there. We want action. We want something to change. It's time. The next murder may be a police officer, and I don't want that to happen. It's got to change today. Thank you.
Thank you. Nikki, I'm going to call the next 10 before you begin. Dave Shukla, Dorothy Kistler, Michelle Simon, Ross Turner, Celeste Williams, Daryl Burns, Heather Kern, Kathleen Adams, John Edmond, and Candace Fleitner. Okay, Nikki, you're up.
Hi. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. I am an owner of a business. We've had it for 25 years. We are celebrating our 20th year in Belmont Shore in February, and I'm proud to say I'm a Long Beach resident. We need a consistent police presence. I think that's just what it comes down to, especially when bars close. Parking lots needs to be patrolled. We need enforcement of the noise ordinances, and we need reasonable restrictions on street vendors who encourage people to hang around and create late-night disturbances. If we don't clean up our streets, if parking lots continue to be places where people loiter, drink, and make noise, then closing bars early won't solve the problem. It just means the problems will start earlier. We want to revive our neighborhoods and our city. As business owners and residents, we're ready to do whatever it takes to make our city what it once was, but we need your help to make these changes real and permanent. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next is Dave here? All right, I have Dave, Dorothy, then Michelle.
Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Duggan, for bringing this item forward. 2 quick observations. First, the majority of patrons at Second Street restaurants are not from Long Beach or residents of Long Beach. They're people who drive from Orange County and drive back to Orange County. So if you're going to do DUI enforcement, it'd be prudent to look at where and when they come. Second, the number of problem establishments can be counted on one hand. If the bar owners are agreeing to voluntary changes, one that hasn't been uplifted much in this discussion, but I think is a persistent problem on that street, is drink spiking. And so I hope that there will be robust training and implementation of AB 1013, the drink spiking law that Assembly Speaker Josh Lowenthal got passed in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy, and then Michelle, and then Ross.
Okay, Belmont Shore has the reputation of being the go-to place for outsiders. They get drunk, use and sell drugs, and get into fights. This has led to several incidents of shootings and stabbings. Thankfully, the city did put an end to hoodlums doing donuts right at 2nd and Granada that drew huge crowds. I live 4 doors from Panama Joe's and no longer feel safe in my own home. Walking to church one Sunday morning, I saw the hazmat team cleaning blood off the sidewalk from a stabbing right at 2nd and Granada. People get killed, and we need permanent closing time of midnight and an increased police presence, especially from midnight to 2 a.m. The bicycle brigades are unarmed, and I believe they only are in the daytime. This is our community, and it is very scary. They tell us if you see something, say something. So I just said it to you. Now please do something.
All right, thank you. Michelle? I love the bow, by the way. Michelle?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Michelle Simon. I'm a Belmont Shore homeowner and public health policy expert with years of experience in alcohol policy, specifically here in California. I'm here to say we need to take a public health approach to solving crime on 2nd Street. Decades of research show that late bar hours drive violence, and the later, the worse things get. In Baltimore, as an example, closing times moved from 2 a.m. to 10 p.m., and homicides dropped 40% and all violent crime fell 23%. And every hour that goes past 1 a.m. has been estimated to cost an additional almost $200 million in the state of New York. These are lessons that we should be learning from. This is a public health problem, not a policing problem. Policing only comes in after the fact. And by the way, street drinking is not a separate issue. It's part of the same late night ecosystem, and all the scientific points to that. When hours are reduced, all the harm goes down. So we need to take a scientific public health approach, and I am willing to help this body do exactly that, and I hope we can work together. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ross, then Celeste, then Daryl.
Good evening, I'm Ross Turner. I'm a homeowner in Belmont Shore. The more the public has access to alcohol, the more potential harms. And we see this over and over again. It's been studied to death. ABC, an agency of the state of California, says on their website it's exactly the problem. Now they've got to balance potential harms with the public's right to have access to alcohol. And they divide the state up into zones. They're called tracts. Belmont Shore is tract 5774. They recommend 3 maximum on-premise bars, restaurants, okay? There are 19 currently. I understand there's a 20th application in the works. City Council keeps overriding what ABC recommends. The blood, folks, is on city's hands. They've got to cut back on the hours if they can't cut back on the licenses. Thank you.
Thank you. Celeste, then Daryl.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. My name is Celeste Wilson. I am here on behalf of the Long Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, representing the policy interests of nearly 1,000 regional members. Firstly, I want to sincerely thank Councilwoman Duggan for her leadership. She has listened carefully to both residents and business owners during a very difficult time, and we appreciate her proactive work to keep Belmont safe. The Chamber strongly supports the increased public safety measures being proposed, reestablishing LBTV walking beats, reactivating the Belmont Shore substation, expanding DUI enforcement, and addressing public drinking and unpermitted vendors are all meaningful steps that will create a safer environment late at night. We applaud the Councilwoman for advocating for these investments. Our concern with the proposed one-year moratorium is not in opposition to the Councilwoman, but rather in recognition of the need for sequence to solutions in a way that is fair and effective. We believe it is important to start with strengthened police presence and enforcement first, then evaluate the results. We are committed partners, and we deeply appreciate Councilwoman Duggan's engagement and thoughtful approach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is Daryl, then Heather.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my name is Daryl Burns. I also live in Belmont Shore, so definitely appreciate you hearing us out, Honorable Mayor and the City Council. Just really, I want to come forward and just really support Councilmember Dugan in terms of her proposal. Working 30 years in developing public safety and health and wellness in communities, this is complicated. This is a complicated issue. There's a lot of voices, there's a lot of players, there's a lot of stakeholders. But we need you as a city council to support this. We need you, Mayor, to support this as well, and really take a deep dive look into this. This is gonna take a multi-pronged approach. Simply throwing resources in terms of law enforcement is not gonna be the long-term solution. Temporary, maybe, but it's gonna take policies and regulations. It's gonna take key stakeholders, the community, the business owners, and you know, to come together and the city council to really problem solve this and think, you know, what can we really do? So I just appreciate your time on this. I think it's incredibly important, and just really support this agenda item.
All right, thank you. Heather, then Kathleen.
All right. Hello, good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Heather Kern. I'm Executive Director for the Belmont Shore Business Association. The BSBA has approximately 260 members in our association. We are a group of merchants, and we're also a group of dreamers. A dream to open a cookie shop, a dream to open an Italian restaurant, a fitness center, a hardware store, a jeweler, and a sports bar, and many more. As you know, each day brings new challenges, some visible, many not. Our members and their staff experience daily disruptions from individuals in crisis. Some have had to close early due to unsafe conditions. One retail business shut its doors permanently after feeling like they were unable to operate safely. With the mayor's vision of becoming an entertainment destination, upcoming FIFA and Olympics, we'll be welcoming a lot of people, international people, thousands of people to Belmont Shore and to Long Beach. We need a strong, coordinated plan for community safety, one that protects our neighborhoods, our visitors, and the small business dreams that make our city thrive. We appreciate Councilman Duggan for bringing this to the council. What we are asking for tonight is clear: enforcement of existing laws.
Ma'am, your time's concluded.
Okay, well, please enforce the laws. How about that?
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather. Kathleen, then John.
Hello, thank you for this amazing and important topic. I request that we have citywide community training so all of us can de-escalate in the presence. We've talked about this several times as I've been on the pulpit. We request that we go beyond just Belmont Shore, which even though I'm from District 4, I regularly go down to Belmont Shore for all kinds of things. It's a family place to be. However, I do leave at 10 o'clock because I know it's dangerous past 10 o'clock. Part of that is I think we should have people, enforcement at the edges of the city to monitor, because I think that will preclude some of the things that are happening where people are coming in from outside the city, also around the train stations and the buses. So yes, agreeing with that, but also increase that. I did have the wonderful experience of having a community patrol person help me, and so I'm requesting more community patrols as well. Thank you.
Thank you. John, and then Candace.
Honorable Mayor, Council Member, City Manager, and staff, my name is John Eben. I'm honored to speak on behalf of the owners, employees, and patrons of Legends, Dogs, Panama Joe's, and Shannon's Bayshore, and the Belmont Shore business community. We share our deepest sympathy for the loss of Jeremy Spears, a father and community member. One life lost is too many, and public safety is a shared responsibility, and it's the promise that we all keep together. Belmont Shore and 2nd Street is the cornerstone of Long Beach, a place where families gather, friends celebrate, and our nightlife brings people together, and it's a safe place. But we've also seen challenges: late night loitering, open alcohol containers, unpermitted vending, and a strain on police resources and public safety. Rather than wait, the business owners and the community came together and voluntarily closed for 30 days in the spirit of teamwork, collaboration, and partnership. We want to especially thank Councilwoman Duggan and Mayor Rex Richardson for your leadership, and we support the city's safety measures that have been presented. Belmont Shore shines bright when we work together. Thank you for your leadership and your partnership in keeping Long Beach safe.
All right, thank you. All right, our final speaker, please, Candace.
I don't know how to top that. My name is Candace Fliedner, and I am a business owner on 2nd Street. I own the first tattoo business on 2nd Street. And so I have a vested interest in making sure the street stays appealing to the youth demographic on the one hand. And I also grew up here. I grew up from the time I was born on 2nd Street, went to preschool at Cal State, part of the Historical Society with my mom. I love Long Beach. I love the shore. That's why I opened my business there. I'm concerned with the proposal about closing at midnight only because since I was born, for almost 50 years now, this has been an integral part and a feature of 2nd Street. And I have noted since opening in 2022, since post-pandemic, since downtown has kind of not been what it used to be, and since partying on 2nd Street from my youth, I've seen it all, and I've seen some of the downtown crowd kind of shift more to 2nd Street. It doesn't directly affect my business. I'm not open past 10. But I just don't want to discourage the youth from coming down there, as much as I know there has to be a balance to be found. Oh, sorry. So I just agree with everything everyone's saying as far as a substation, more police presence, more beat cops, more patrol cars like it was when I was growing up, and everything seemed to be okay. But after 2022, when the beat cops left, is when we've seen the problems. And yeah, I support all of those measures for more police activity and enforcement. Thank you.
All right. All right. I'm sorry? You didn't sign up. Speaking is just closed. So it's back behind the rail now. You can speak at the final public comment at the end of the meeting. All right. So first of all, thank you, Councilmember Duggan, for bringing the item forward, for talking to me since the very beginning. I want to thank all the public for coming out and speaking, and the business owners. And I've spoken with a number of residents, the business owners who came in, met with you and I in my office, a week ago to talk through some of these issues and some of these recommendations. What I see is that there's a natural tension between residents who live right adjacent to the business corridor and the business corridor, and there needs to be balance. There's, we love that business corridor, great shops, great restaurants. I spend a lot of time there, especially since becoming mayor, a lot of time on that corridor. When we see that balance be disturbed, it creates a real challenge for the community, and it seems to be out of balance in the later hours. Now, I was a council member for 8.5 years before becoming mayor, and I know what it's like to have a residence, for the most part, residential community with bars that are right there on the corridor. In fact, it was a very difficult time when Artesia Boulevard, had the last strip club in the city, had a number of just wild, biker bars and a number of things. And the reality was it was a nuisance and a drain on the residents, and the residents had seen enough. But it wasn't until some very scary incidents took place that it met a tipping point. This was when, unfortunately, a few years back, it was a patron left a bar who had been overserved or whatever it was. He was drunk, he was high, and he drove his car into an apartment building across the street, killed a 39-year-old father and his 3-year-old daughter who were sleeping together. And it was incredibly tragic. The person has not been caught. He disappeared, and we still haven't caught that individual. And this was after, just a year prior, there was a triple shooting where a patron shot a bar back, shot another patron, and the police responded and shot that person. 3 people died at that very bar. This was difficult for our community to deal with. We didn't have a lot of participation or partnership from the businesses or the bar owners to find solutions. It took us about 18 months to do it the long way, the hard way, taking grandfather establishments that have been in place 20, 30, 40, 50 years, who did not have modern standards, and ask for them, and require them to have larger standards. We had the same issue with liquor stores. But the fact that what I see here is a willingness between the councilwoman, the businesses, and the community to find some local solutions, that I can support, because it's going to shortcut that process about 18 months. Now, I will say, what was sensitive about this is someone said it shouldn't have taken this long. I agree. Last year, there were 2 incidents, and I think they had certain things in common. And if this had come together during that time, perhaps the late night bar environment could have had controls in place, and Jeremy Spears, who my understanding is a good guy in the community, was serving as a good Samaritan that night, will still be here. And my hope is that this is a catalyst to see some real partnership come out of this. I also think that the response needs to be measured. The response needs to be comparable to the problem. And I've heard a number of people say, get in, ask questions. What are we talking about here? So lots of conversation, Chief, about police response. I want you to walk me through the response that night.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. And you're talking about the specific homicide that occurred, correct?
This specific incident without compromising any investigation.
Sure. So I'll walk you through it, but before that, I do want to add that, when there's a lot of talk about police presence and additional police officers, and I'm compelled to add that the police officers we have in our department for nearly 2 years have been working mandatory overtime in patrol to maintain the level of service that's expected by our community, and they do it willingly, and I applaud them for that. And it was evident that night because they were on scene within 2 minutes. Our amazing detectives identified the suspect responsible very quickly, and he was in our custody along with the accomplice in that crime within 24 hours.
So I want to thank the patrol team and the detectives for their incredible work. That's the city's response working. So show up within 2 minutes and apprehend the suspect within 24 hours. But let's talk more about, I'm hearing comments from the residents about a trend taking place. Now I know I know about the 2 incidents last year. Tell me what's going on this year. How's East Division looking this year?
Certainly, and so again, before I get into crime stats, I have to add and share that we are a solutions-based department. We partner and collaborate with other city departments and our community. And one of the things that we use to allocate resources is the evaluation and analysis of data. So crime statistics are only one element. In our crime statistics, I say this with the understanding that there's more to it than just the statistics, because the statistics in East Division show a significant reduction in crime. Our murders are down nearly 30% citywide. Our shootings are down 35% citywide. That includes East Division as well. In nearly all crime categories in the Belmont Shore area, we've seen a reduction. I say that with the understanding that that's not the only analysis for us. We also talk to our council members, attend community forums, talk to our community to get feedback to determine how best to allocate our resources. And we'll continue to do that. So what we are seeing now in Belmont Shore in terms of crime statistics shows a reduction in crime, a reduction in the number of homicides. We've had one homicide, the one we were just talking about. Total for East Division, the entirety of East Division, we've had 2. We had 7 last year. That's a significant reduction as well. So while there is a reduction, we are here to hear from obviously all of you and our community members and see how best to respond to the current asks and needs of the entire community and the entire city.
So I certainly appreciate that. A lot of times when it happens right in front of your neighborhood or right in front of your home, despite whether or not the crime is down, it feels very present and immediate for that resident. And so what I'm really curious about is the last 3 times that we've heard about this. So and thank you, there's been 1 you said this year in Belmont Shore, 2 in all of East Division, but there were 2 in Belmont Shore that came up tonight. What did those incidents, the Belmont Shore incidents, have in common?
You're referring to the homicides, correct, Mayor?
Right.
Yeah, so what we've seen is that they were all near or around closing time, late night hours is when those homicides occurred.
So what I like about this approach is that it is targeted very specifically at the late night environment. There are things that cities are doing today to address standards. You know, if you have just a number of bars, they don't have to all close at the same time. You can stagger them. We visited Nashville to learn about how they're embracing their nighttime economy. They hired a night manager whose job is to know the business districts, the police department, the watch commander, every bar owner, every nighttime shift leader, understand where the problems are and troubleshoot through those problems. What I'm hoping comes out of this is some very specific, not only conditions on those businesses, but things that the city can do to manage the night environment better. Because what I'm afraid of is if you don't restore balance between the residents who are there and those business owners, it's going to create what you don't want, which is a negative loop in that community where investment does not want to go to that community. You want to see positive activity take place, and we have to restore that balance. So, Councilwoman, I want to thank you for bringing this up, but I think I see this as 2 ways. It's what the city can do and what the environment around the bars can do to really restore that balance in the community. So we have a number of council members who signed up to speak. We're going to go to the seconder of the motion, Councilmember Thrashintook.
All right. Thank you for that, and thank you, Mayor. I really want to appreciate you for taking us through that conversation. I want to thank my colleague, Councilwoman Duggan, for bringing this item forward. You're right, and your residents have shared here, Belmont is a special place. Belmont Shore is a special place. But the truth is, our entire city is also a special place. It's a place where you noted in your memo, people can have delicious, authentic meal, maybe even in Cambodia Town. They can take a lunch at the Pike or come up to the north and have brunch at Dairy Market by Breezy's. Our city is a place that really, truly offers something for everyone at all times of the day. And safety is something that every single neighborhood and every resident deems to be a fundamental responsibility. The concerns that you've raised on behalf of your constituents are real and are valid, especially when we consider the loss of life. And if any one of us feels safe in any one part of our city, it affects all of us. We know these challenges, public disturbances, daytime or late night violence, and the tragic presence of firearms is not isolated. The anxiety that a family might feel in Belmont Shore is the same anxiety that is felt by a family in the north part of our city, in West Long Beach, or in the 1st and 2nd districts. But our response to this cannot be piecemeal. We cannot be siloed in how we respond. Our response must be comprehensive. It must be grounded in data, and Chief, thank you for sharing that as well here today. It also must be grounded in equity. So we ask our police department to do an incredible job for us. Their mission is to protect everyone and to serve every community and to focus those resources in the places where the data shows that they are most needed. That is the true heart of community policing. We want to make sure that any finite level of resources that we dedicate to places where it is needed, statistically documented, and maybe not just one corridor, so that no one feels left behind. So your item does correctly identify a problem and cements that gun violence is unacceptable at any time of the day. And now we've got to scale that solution. So, Chief, with the mayor's questioning, you've asked and answered a few of the questions that I had in mind. And that is, you've confirmed that crime is down, especially when it comes to violent crime. You noted specifically the number of losses of life in parts of the city, including 1, and I believe 7 was the other. In the north, do you happen to have the statistics on how many loss of lives that we've had in the North Division?
Yes, council member, and I believe year to date 11 in North Division.
Okay, so you can see as we think about what our response is, it's extremely critical that we understand what is causing this. The good news is that it's down, and I believe that is because we have been data driven and ensuring that we put the right resources in the right places. So with that, I'd like to see if my colleague would be open to a discussion on the dais tonight about how we look at this issue from a holistic standpoint across the city. So I have 4 amendment recommendations for the matter that was brought forth. It not only, builds upon what you have brought forth, but also offers an opportunity to take a look at some other places throughout the city where we have had tragedy that also should and needs to be addressed. So let's begin with the first amendment. I'll go through all of them and then we can go back through them again. So your item calls for a feasibility and cost analysis for LBPD walking beats in a substation, specifically in Belmont Shore. I'd like to amend this request so that the city manager's office can take a look at a citywide report looking at data-informed analysis of high-need public safety hotspots. This analysis should identify by police beat and neighborhood the areas across all of Long Beach with the highest concentrations of violent crime, gun-related incidents, and calls for service. And given the nature of the kind of businesses that we're talking about, we're currently focusing on bars and nightclubs. Given the rest of the city, I'd like to expand that definition to include all alcohol serving establishments and smoke-related institutions, and then including liquor stores and smoke shops as part of that description. The second area or amendment that I'm recommending is associated with a citywide deployment strategy. So my amendment would be to look at how we will equitably assign the resources once we have the data and we know where those hotspots are, so that we can continue to impact the areas of greatest needs, ensuring that all neighborhoods get a chance to benefit from that data-driven approach. And then the third is associated with the fact that the motion that you brought forth, which can continue to remain in there, focuses on late night issues, which I think is important for Belmont Shore. But the data shows that in other parts of the city, peak times for violence are different. And so I'd like to recommend that this analysis look at crime data across all peak hours, day and night, to create a holistic safety plan that addresses the unique challenges of all commercial corridors and residential areas, and not just late night bars. And then the fourth is related to the amount of time. In order to accommodate the additional request here, I would recommend a 90-day report back. So Councilwoman Duggan, I'm happy to go back through these items again to see if there is an openness to consider these amendments.
Councilwoman, thank you for bringing those up. You obviously have taken a lot of time to think about that, and our city is very diverse with differences in the North Division, South Division, West Division, and East Division. East Division is close to 50% of the city, and resources from the police department are equal for each of the divisions. I've brought this item forward because it's specific to Belmont Shore. I love your recommendations, but that might be something that could be brought separately. This is specific for my district, and as I said from the beginning, each of our offices focuses on specific issues in our district, and this is an issue for my district. I respect when ABC licenses come up in different districts. Each of us look at the restaurants or the bars that are asking for liquor licenses and respectfully defer to that council member. I'm asking for this specifically because Belmont Shore has changed over the years. And yes, I see that across the city, there are different communities with different struggles. But I respectfully have to decline in changing my item.
I just want to confirm that makes it very difficult. Part of what you're asking is a level of dedicated resources that then impacts other parts of the city.
What I'm asking for is a report back.
That was what I was asking for.
Yeah, a report back. Okay, so I'm asking for a 45-day report back specifically for Belmont Shore. But taking the time when each of us has our different projects that we work on and our different issues, again, I'm going to respectfully decline your changes.
All right, we have a number of speakers still signed up to speak. Councilmember Sorrow.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And I do want to thank Councilmember Duggan for bringing this item forward and all the residents for coming out to sharing your concerns and the experience that you have in your neighborhood. I think that is what our residents do when concerns about safety in their neighborhood, as well as other issues that come forward. And yes, I do hear also that this is a specific request for a district, and there are specific, uniqueness to each of our district. But this is also an issue that is impacting us citywide. I think that when we had an issue around human trafficking, that was an issue that was very specific to North Long Beach. If it did also affect Belmont Shore, I believe that would also be part of the discussion and the study as well. So I'm gonna say that I'm in agreement with Councilmember Thrashentuk, because, I think that there was one comment that one public commenter made that really resonates with me around the issue around violence and crime is access to alcohol. And while we can do something very specific to Belmont Shore, we have also heard that boundaries of access doesn't just stop at the streets of the neighborhood. So while we can move forward with doing this study, doesn't mean that crime will completely be erased from the neighborhood or their ability to still access alcohol. I am concerned about that we do have liquor stores. Whether you close a bar, they still can access it at 1 or 2 in the morning. So, and we've heard that people still do that even when there are bars availability. So it's, while I hear the concern that residents have in Belmont Shore, and I'm in complete agreement that we have to find root causes. But I think by doing a study in Belmont Shore doesn't also bar us from being able to do more of a comprehensive study around data. And I think that that would make not just residents in Belmont Shore feel safe, but all of us in our surrounding districts. So I hate to limit our study for one area when we know the boundaries of alcohol doesn't just get contained in one area. So I cannot move forward with the item as is unless we have a broader discussion. As somebody who agrees this is a public health issue, there are root causes. They're all different in parts of our district, but we know citywide that access to alcohol is a problem citywide, and we've heard countywide. We can go on with this. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Zendejas.
Thank you. First, I want to thank Councilwoman Duggan for bringing up this item. I know that your intention is absolutely to be the voice of your residents, and I think that that's what we are all here doing. I also have to say that I am very happy to see that the city has been working with our businesses to kind of collaborate instead of putting a moratorium, but we're actually working together. Me being a representative of downtown, one of the things that I had an issue with the moratorium was because I hear from my business owners how their main goal is to get more business in through their doors to be able to succeed. And so that's where I was having a little trouble with the moratorium. So I'm glad that, you guys were able to come together and work together on finding solutions. I do have to agree with Councilmember Thrash Intek with your amendments. I think that those would be very important. I understand where you're coming from, Councilwoman Duggan, also. But I've been working with city staff, with the police department, with the mayor, to find solutions for gun violence and crimes in the downtown area. And I've been repeatedly told, that we should look at things that we as a council do citywide ordinances, that's what we do to make sure that all of our residents are safe. What questions that I had for you, Chief, and I know we've talked about this a lot, and I know this is probably repetitive, but for the audience, first of all, how do you decide how to allocate policing patrol?
So that involves an analysis of the data, the crime data, the workload, the capacity, the demographics, and the density within a specific community. It's something that I discuss with my executive team on a regular basis in our crime strategy meetings, as well as our weekly staff meeting, to determine each year how we'll deploy our resources, but they're divided equally currently among the 4 geographic patrol divisions.
Thank you. Also, I don't have the numbers up here, and you may have the exact numbers, but I know that there have been a tragic loss in the area of Belmont Shore, which I personally want to give my condolences to the family of Jeremy Spears, the young man that really had strong ties here to our Long Beach community and who is being missed so much by our Long Beach community. May he rest in peace. but also, if you could share, I know that there was 3 deaths in the last 18 months. It was, stated earlier. Do you have a number of deaths in the downtown area due to gun violence or crime maybe in the last 8 months?
Yes, council member, year to date it's 3.
3, thank you. And so we have the same concern, so that's why I absolutely agree, because everyone, including Belmont Shore, downtown, North Long Beach, all of us should be feeling safe. I know that our police department is also working hard to make sure to make our communities feel safe. So I understand the need, and I understand the desire of wanting the best for our community. And so with that, I would like to make a motion to add the amendments that Councilwoman Thrash-Intuk stated. So if you would be so kind to restate those, please.
We can't have two. Can we have 2 motions on the table at a time?
Yeah, you can. It's a substitute motion.
Yes.
I believe
A
she's
substitute.
making a substitute motion.
Okay.
A substitute.
So the 4 items were: 1, a citywide data-driven hotspot analysis of violent crime incidents, calls, and gun violence, with an extension of hotspots to include smoke shops and liquor stores, in addition to bars, as noted in the previous motion. Number 2, an equitable citywide deployment strategy for resources like walking beats based on the data. 3, a holistic analysis of peak crime hours, but not just limited to late night activity. And 4, a 90-day report back. I'll second the motion.
All right, so there's a substitute motion on the floor. Does that complete your comments, council member?
Yes.
I'm gonna before we move forward, still have a number of people signed to speak. I see 2 things here that I don't think necessarily conflict with one another. I see that a council member's brought forward, I have a very specific, unique issue that I want to see studied and has pinpointed in on late night environment. And then I also know that there's need, the needs are different across the other districts, and a more comprehensive study may take more time, 90 days. Why, rather than create winners and losers, why don't you do both? Do a compromise motion, do 45 days, do 90 days, because it takes more time to do it. Here's why I think it's actually makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna go back to another North Long Beach example. We started off regulating liquor stores because we had a number of grandfather off-sale liquor stores, type 21 off-sale, over-concentration in the 90805 area. So we studied it there and created an ordinance called Alcohol Nuisance Abatement Ordinance, and then we got it right and we scaled it citywide. It's a citywide ordinance, but we focused in that area. There may be some relationships here because the conversations that I've heard from Mr. Kuntz and others, there may be some standards here that may come out of this process that may actually be helpful in some of these other areas. I also want to note, Council Member Zendejas, you just came off there's some stuff that we can learn from you in terms of the nighttime environment, because you just came off the safest summer in downtown in like the last 20 years in downtown. And you mentioned it was 3. No homicides are, like 1 homicide is too much, but the progress from last year to this year is remarkable. We're talking, I don't know if the chief knows what that looked like last year at this time in downtown. Where was it last year?
I don't have the exact number, Mayor, but I do have, as I mentioned, the citywide statistics, which were a 30% decrease year over year.
Right, and I think it was 40% by the end of December. I think he's quoting the mid-year number. By the end of September, rather, I think it was up to 40. So I think there are some lessons learned from downtown and the downtown nightlife environment that also can be brought in. So I think this might be an opportunity so every council member can get their needs met. But I'm gonna leave it to the council members to see if there's you know, rather than up and down votes here, an opportunity to merge the motions. So you're the owner of the motion. Are you open to something like that?
Absolutely, if we can also include downtown.
I think the idea is like you're gonna do citywide, right? There's needs in north, west, downtown, and east, right?
Mhm.
So the first motion was this very finite, specific issue in Belmont Shore. Don't stop that work, right? Let that work progress while understanding that 45 days later, there's gonna be another report, a study that comes out that talks about very specific needs in those areas. That's the idea. Okay, Councilmember Thrash,
Yes,
you're
that
good with
sounds
that? Councilmember Duggan, you good with that?
I am. I do want to make
Yeah,
comments.
we got you. We got a whole queue. Megan was
Okay.
next.
All right,
I'm just making
sounds
sure that she can amend her motion
Yep,
to do
that's fine.
Fantastic.
I will accept both.
All right, Councilmember Kerr.
Yes. First off, I want to offer my sincere condolences to the Spears family on the tragic loss of their loved one. I also want to commend my colleague for working to be responsive to a very specific portion of her district, Councilwoman Duggan, working with both residents and businesses. I live on the business entertainment corridor in Bixby Knolls and understand what that's like when things shut down, though they shut down earlier than they do in Belmont Shore. But we also know that those business associations are working tirelessly to bring people to the shore to invest in our local businesses, and I want to thank them for that work. So we've heard a lot tonight. I'm not going to add. I have some specific questions because this is about a report back. So I'm going to start with Director Kuntz actually before I start with the police department. So you were part of some conversations and will continue to be part of some conversations about what some administrative regulations, licensing issues, some ways to support businesses to maybe be better neighbors at times, but also to give them the tools that they might need or recommendations that they might need to better serve their clientele and to the community. Can you speak a little bit to things you're looking forward to digging into and potentially bringing back to council?
Thank you, council member. So there's been a lot of discussion about the closing time, which is one important factor, but I wanted to share some positive news in the meeting that we had with the 4 establishment owners. It went into a much more detailed discussion about what happens when late night hours resume and really having appropriate security. There are appropriate security procedures that work very well in council members in DeHaas's district that are not present at the establishments in Belmont Shore. So that means properly screening people that come in, making sure that it's clear that weapons aren't allowed within these establishments. While you're maybe open until 2 a.m., you don't let new customers in after 1 a.m. because of the chance that they were dismissed from another establishment because they had overconsumed. And then information sharing among all the establishments in the corridor so that the problem customer doesn't go from one establishment to the other. And then controlling rear areas, sidewalks, so that you're not just transferring a problem when you remove a problem customer out into the public right away. So all of those details matter. Downtown is the most analogous. I know we have bars in every district, but downtown is the most analogous situation. And on Pine, we have some businesses that have a lot of customers and they're open very late, but for the most part, they do that very responsibly because they're very tightly regulated. Those regulations don't exist in Belmont Shore today. And what we're trying to do is not inhibit the business environment, but have them operate in a way that is responsible, that has a greater level of protection for the public, for themselves, and for surrounding businesses, so that we can move forward. And then that was the nature of the discussion and the work that would be ahead of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that background. And now, Chief Hebish, so it was mentioned by my colleague that East Division is the biggest geographic division in the city, nearly 50% of the city in one police division. That's what I said. Geographically, it's the largest. So my concern when we talk about things like having substations on 2nd Street or extra beat officers or walking patrols or bike patrols, as someone who shares the East Division, District 5 is actually represented by 3 divisions, East, North, and West. the concern of my residents will be if we are extra concentrating public safety in one portion, if something were to happen in another portion or District 5. So the most northern point of District 5 is over 7 miles from 2nd Street. And so we know that officers are deployed, but we know if there are major incidences, we need to go where public safety is most threatened. So I think in the report back, what I'm looking for is ways that other communities can be assured that if there is extra patrol in some other areas, that the division is prepared to make sure that other communities have response as well. And so if you could include that in the response back, would be much appreciated. And I saw a recommendation potentially on DUI checkpoints. And DUI checkpoints, again, as we've said, are after the fact kind of responses. And so from a cost perspective, because we're talking about limited number of resources, we are doing our best to onboard as many new officers with back-to-back academies. We're looking at hoping to have 100 folks in our academy coming up. So we know we're trying to hire. But until then, things like DUI checkpoints, which sometimes are funded by the county or grant resources, could you include information about the cost of those and the deemed effectiveness that would prevent some of the things that we're hoping to prevent on 2nd Street? Because we can't search people's cars for weapons. It's not constitutional. But ways that that could be or not a more effective way to address the issue. And is it really a deterrent? And I think those are the questions that I have as we continue to talk about what's next. I'm looking forward to having more information. And again, to my colleague, we know that it's not easy to work the balance between businesses and neighborhoods and constituents, that most of us do that all the time. And I appreciate you so authentically attempting to bring people together to come up with solutions.
Thank you, Councilmember Duggan.
Well, I have to say I'm disappointed, but we're going to collaborate on this and have a report back because I'm always looking out. As you all know, I work for the good of the city as well as my district. This item was specific for my district. I appreciate Director Kuntz talking about talking about the difference between the bars and bars on 2nd Street. These have been grandfathered in without the regulations that have been placed on new bars, new restaurants, and downtown. Council member, when you wanted rezoning down in your district and you can have events till 4 a.m., I supported that. I also commented that I wasn't interested in that for Belmont Shore. Director Kuntz, one of the things we've discussed is tighter regulations. You spoke a little bit about that. We heard people asking for more regulations. The reason we have to do this is because we don't have CUPs with the same regulations as downtown. I just want to reiterate that and hear again from you. My goal is to have bars that have regulations that are similar across the city. I'm looking at liquor stores. I'm looking at bars. I'm looking at late night establishments that are selling alcohol. And we just need more teeth in it. That's all I'm looking for. Report back on that. So can you just go over it one more time? Because I think this is important that everyone understands the difference between the Belmont Shore establishments.
Sure. So there's establishments in Belmont Shore that we may not think of them as having been there for 60 years because the name on the door has changed in some cases multiple times. But their underlying land use right to serve alcohol predates the city's ability and imposition of conditional use permits and even entertainment permits and special things we do through business licensing, all of our best practices that we have today. So while that condition does occur in other locations, what's unique in Belmont Shore is that there's that concentration in pretty close distance of multiple establishments with that circumstance. And it's something that needs to be addressed, and something we've talked about is the liquor stores also usually don't operate past midnight, but they have the ability to, and that's something that in due course the city needs to address. So I've heard the discussion and talked to the mayor, and I think from the staff standpoint, anytime we do work in one location, in this case Belmont Shore, the hope is always for it to be transferable. So the work we've done in downtown is going to be transferable to solving this issue, because what we want people to do is be able to operate late, but by giving them that right, attach certain responsibilities and restrictions to that. And then my hope would be that we can carry that to other establishments and elsewhere in the city. There's a lot of discussion tonight. I think everyone here at the staff table across FM, community development, PD, we'd all like to have tighter controls and additional tools in our toolbox for regulating alcohol across the city. So whatever we do as a result of this motion in one part of the city, we'd want for it to be transferable to other locations. So that's, we work, every location is different, but we try to make sure that our work is repeatable and transferable.
Thank you, Director Kuntz. Again, my goal is to make our community safe, and if we can learn something for across the city, that's wonderful. Just to reiterate, so our goal is to bring back a report specifically on the items that I've brought forward in 45 days. We're going to work with our business owners and operators. We're going to work with the residents, and we're going to work with the businesses to bring that together with their input. And then we will move to the motion by Councilwoman Zendejas and Thrash Intook, and that will come back in 90 days. I just want to be clear with that's the goal, and that's what we are voting on. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we're good. Madam City Attorney, that's the motion.
That is a motion I have.
Great, fantastic. Councilmember Thrash Intook.
No closing comments. I really appreciate the opportunity to have the dialogue on the dais and to be able to collaborate, and I'm really pleased that we've been able to come up with a solution that I think works for all parties. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Zendejas.
Thank you. And Councilmember Duggan, yes, that is the motion, and I hope that you understand that I am supporting you with this motion by including your motion into this, and I know how important it is, so I'm happy that we were able to collaborate, because not only will this motion be very meaningful and impactful to Belmont Shore, but it will also give us an opportunity to see what we can do citywide. So I'm happy with this motion and happy to support you in this motion as well.
All right, Councilmember Carr.
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine, thank you.
Vice Mayor Uranga.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to thank my colleagues for a very lively, well thought out discussion. I think we finally arrived at a place where everybody can really live with this issue. Bifurcating the issues between the immediate needs of Belmont Shore and the needs of the city is the correct direction we need to take. So I'm supportive of the motion on the floor.
Awesome, thank you. Just gonna, Madam Attorney, one last time. So that includes the amendment that Councilmember Duggan did about amending the original motion about a one-year moratorium?
Yes, and if I can just run through it and make sure we've
Please
got
do.
everything. Okay. So it starts with Councilmember Duggan's original motion. So we are removing the option for a one-year moratorium. We are looking at the feasibility and cost associated with reestablishing LBPD walking beats during high traffic hours and reactivating the police substation Belmont Shore, implementing additional DUI enforcement in Belmont Shore at regular intervals aligned with peak egress times of bar patrons, and enhanced targeted late night enforcement of nuisance issues, including public drinking and unauthorized vendor operations. The motion I have from CD1 with CD8 is citywide data-driven hotspot analysis of violent crime, including smoke shops and liquor stores in addition to bars, and options to address. Feasibility and cost of LBPD walking beats citywide based on data. Enhanced enforcement of nuisance issues citywide, not just late night enforcement, but peak times in other parts of the city that are different for nuisance issues, include public drinking and unauthorized vendor operations. Look at crime data at peak hours with a citywide approach, and a 90-day report back.
All right, thank you. That's comprehensive. And, Chief, a lot of talk about police department tonight, so I'm gonna give you the final word before they go to a vote.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. And I really don't have any closing comments other than to say that I appreciate the conversation, and it's always a pleasure to hear from the community and their concerns. And this department is committed to our entire city, including Belmont Shore.
That's right. So staff's been very clear. We want to thank everybody for coming out. I think we got some very clear direction to look at some very specific things that in Belmont Shore, but we want to be mindful of the progress across the whole city. We just came off the safest summer. You see 40% reductions in homicides, but even one is too much, and we want to get to 0 in every one of our neighborhoods. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right. 38, please.
Item 38, communication from Councilmember Duggan, Chair of Government Operations and Efficiency Committee. Recommendation to request City Council approval of proposed order of business changes to City Council meetings. Request City Council to direct City Manager and City Clerk to report back with implementation analysis on recommendations that need additional department research, and request City Council to direct City Manager and City Clerk to report back on implementation of Senate Bill 707.
All right, we're going to give it a minute for folks to clear out before you start your presentation, council member.
They're just exiting for the last item. If you'd like to speak on second public comment. Not.
All right, I'm going to ask folks to go ahead and clear the room. We have the rest of the council meeting. We thank all the news cameras for being here, but you can sign up to public comment at the end of the meeting. This is the next period. Yeah. All right, we're not going to be doing interviews in here. If we can get a little assistance with clearing, like please take a seat or head on out. What a cute puppy that is. All right. Okay. Councilmember Duggan, I think we're ready to go.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. This is scintillating stuff that I'm bringing up right now. So, thank you to my colleagues on the Government Operations and Efficiencies Committee, Councilmember Dr. Joni Ricks-Odie and Councilmember Zenday Haas for their interest and work on this scintillating item. I really want to thank the city clerk team for the work that they have done on this item, though. I make a joke lightly because this is about policy, but this is an important item that makes community input. It really focuses on that. So the city clerk's team, your support through this process has been integral. Over the past couple of months, our committee, the Government Operations and Efficiency, or GOE, has taken a close look on how we can make our city council meetings more efficient, accessible, and welcoming. That means not only for us as a council, but for residents who take time out of their evening to participate. We reviewed survey data collected by the city clerk's office, which gave us a helpful look at how the public comes and experiences our meetings. While the responses were valuable, we didn't reach as broad of a cross-section of residents as we would have liked. The recommendations before you tonight, though, are about making small, practical improvements that make meetings easier to follow and more predictable for everyone involved. The first set of changes, the order of business updates, are low-cost, straightforward adjustments. I've worked with the city clerk's office, the city manager's office, and just got input on the following: expanding early public comment, establishing estimated times for high-interest items, adjusting times for public comments to formalize existing practices, upholding 5-minute limit on ceremonial items, and setting city council meetings to start no earlier than 3 p.m. If one of my colleagues has any issues with the order of business changes, we can always move those to the second bucket of ideas that's going to city staff. And I just want to make a clarification on that 5th bullet item, setting city council meetings to start no earlier than 3 p.m. We would keep our meetings to set at the regular time that's set aside in our charter. But I think there are opportunities, there are some days that we have council meetings that we might want to start earlier because we could be here till the wee hours of the morning. It would be very specific, and the chair, of course, has that prerogative. The second group of ideas, that second bucket, they have potential, but they definitely need more evaluation before moving forward. And I know we can't implement all of the proposals, but we can look at which ones make sense after getting staff feedback. These items include looking more closely at how we define and handle urgent supplemental items, how we might make staff reports more accessible before meetings, and how we can simplify the process for small community sponsorships while maintaining transparency. Each of those could improve efficiency and engagement, but they involve multiple departments and deserve thoughtful review. This item also asks for a report on Senate Bill 707, which will bring new statewide requirements for how public meetings are conducted. Although this is about improving how we operate as a city council, it's also about making our meetings more consistent, more efficient, and ultimately more welcoming for residents who want to engage in their local government, which is what we are looking for. I again want to thank my committee colleagues for their collaboration and the city clerk's office for their continued partnership. And with that, I move to approve the item.
All right. We're going to take care of public comment first, then we'll go to the council deliberation. Keith Mason and Dave Shukla.
Can I have the 3 minutes on the other item?
Not how it works.
I just wanted to express, I didn't come for this, I clearly came for the other item, but I think just a couple of things that I read in this I think are really valuable. One is high importance issues at a fixed time in the agenda, or at least better estimate. I know and I realize you sign up to sit through this multiple times a month, and I only come when there's something that's important to me personally. But it would be, I think you'd get much more participation by residents and people in the community if they knew when they could come and not have to come at 5 o'clock hoping that, you know, they're gonna have to wait the whole evening to be able to talk to that. So I think it's a really good idea. The other one, which I know I've gotten burned on a couple of times, is just the emergency items that come on the agenda that you don't realize are there until I happen to look at the agenda on a Monday and realize I can't be there. So I think I saw something in there about having a better definition around that. I know one of them that I wanted to speak on in the last year was on the scooters on the path. That was an emergency item. I'm not sure why it was an emergency item, but again, I think if you want to engage and have the community engage, having more time to be able to take a look at that is just a great thing. So I'll leave my minute and a half there.
Thanks for your comments. Appreciate it. So you only took 90 seconds. Dave, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually came for this item. I appreciate Councilwoman Duggan for bringing this forward and for the thought put into getting more public participation and not just on the hot button items. Specific to SB 707, there is a wealth of information during the first 6 months of this city implementing teleconferencing that the city could learn a great deal from March through August of 2020, which is, I believe, the first time that there was teleconferencing and the Zoom option done. And one of the provisions in specific, if you're going to go back to that history that SB 707 would prohibit, is if you're on Zoom, and that's the way that you're calling in, because you have to be somewhere else, you have some just cause for using the Zoom option instead of being here in person as a council member or as a commissioner for whichever commission, and you're using the chat function, that can be subpoenaed under the Brown Act. Thank you.
All right. That concludes public comment. I'm going to take it back behind the rails. Second to the motion, council members in Dejas.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank our GEO chair, Councilwoman Duggan, and my colleague, Councilmember Rick Odie, for their work and partnership in bringing this item for full council consideration. I believe that we are all in agreement that making city council meetings more accessible to the public improves government efficiency. At our last GOE meeting, we received a presentation with an overview of the findings from a survey released by City Clerk's Office. Thank you again for all the incredible work that our City Clerk's Office has been doing. It's important to the city to do a better job at reaching out to our Long Beach community for feedback. Yes, I was saddened to see a low participation rate for folks whose primary languages at home is non-English and from residents living in Central and West Long Beach. I was saddened because as we all have seen during our budget season, our Spanish and Khmer speaking residents are also civically engaged, and it is important for their voices to also be heard. Having noted that, I do believe we did have a very fruitful discussion of every line item. I think we are moving forward in the right direction. Again, thank you, Chair Duggan, for bringing this up, and I think that this has been something that that the community has been eager for, so I really do appreciate that. There are 2 points that I believe need a little bit more study to reflect the change that will improve accessibility as intended. I think the public, one of the things that I brought up that I would like to see if there's more consideration for is the maybe the possibility of having mid public comments during the meeting instead of maybe at the very beginning and the very end.
Just make a point.
Point of order. I'm so sorry. I have a family emergency. I'm going to the hospital right now, so I'm out.
We got it. Hope all is well, council member. We're going to take a minute.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, another point of order. Can this be, I think Councilmember Duggan's
Continue.
wish was to continue it to another day.
I think that's appropriate.
Okay.
All right, so we'll entertain a motion to continue this to a future date.
Awesome.
All right, moved by Supernaw, second by Kerr. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Ayes have it. We'll move on. We wish the very best to our council colleague. We will now go to item 41.
Report from Police Department, recommendation to receive and file the Long Beach Department 2024 Annual Military Equipment Use Report, conclude the public hearing, adopt the 2025 Military Equipment Special Order, and direct City Attorney to prepare an ordinance formally adopting the 2025 Military Equipment Special Order as required by California Assembly Bill 481, citywide.
All right, we know that this is something that has to happen once a year, this report per state law. Is there a brief staff report here? Okay.
Just if you need one.
Is there a motion and second? Okay, been moved and seconded. I see one member of the public signed to speak, Kathleen Adams.
Hello, thank you for allowing public comment. This is about a militarization of the police. Apparently, it doesn't appear there's a report, so I'm just commenting and witnessing that. In general, I'm requesting that we do everything possible to spend money in California and locally. I have witnessed across the year in the budget process that we have exported our funds to other parts of the nation. I want the very best for our police to do their job and to feel like they have all the equipment they need. I appreciate them very much for putting their lives on the line for our community. And I'm also requesting there's an ethics sign-up sheet for the things we do. We want them to be ethical. If we can keep track of where our money is going and to make sure it's going to vendors that are good citizens for the nation, they aren't harming other parts of the community and they're not affiliated with harm other than defense. And we request perhaps a housekeeping checklist of good citizen equipment vendors to be part of the report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
42.
Report from Public Works, recommendation to adopt plans and specifications and award a contract to DC Integrate for the Long Beach Police Department North Division HVAC upgrade and roof repair for a total contract amount not to exceed $2,642,400, District 8.
HVAC and a new roof for the North Division. It's been moved and seconded. Any public comment? Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
43.
Report from Public Works, recommendation to adopt a resolution to execute a contract and any necessary documents with Honeywell International for energy solutions for battery storage on an as-needed basis for a total annual amount not to exceed $2,200,000 citywide.
Moved and seconded. Any public comment? Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
45.
Report from City Attorney, recommendation to declare ordinance amending the Long Beach Municipal Code relating to the designation of the property located at 149 Sienna Drive as a historic landmark, read the first time and later for the next regular meeting of the City Council for final reading, and adopt a resolution establishing a historic resources designation for the property.
All right. Moved and seconded. Any public comment?
No public
Members,
comment.
please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
All right, we'll now go to our final public comment.
I believe we still have item 44.
Did we miss one? Oh, 44.
Report from Community Development, recommendation to declare ordinance adopting and amending the 2025 edition of the California Building Standards Code and the 1997 edition of the Uniform Housing Code by amending and restating Title 18 of the Long Beach Municipal Code in its entirety, read and adopted as read, citywide.
All right, moved and seconded. I see no public comment. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
We'll go to our final public comment. Okay, I have Caroline Bueller, Dave Shukla, Kash Patel, and Patricia. Please come forward if you heard your name.
Question. May council impose an outright ban on the use of racial slurs during the public portion of city council meeting? Answer, no. In light of both federal and state constitutional guarantees, speech council cannot impose a blanket of prohibition on racial slurs. Racial slurs do not fall within any of the narrowly delineated exceptions to the First Amendment. Specifically prohibiting racial slurs is presumptively unconstitutional. An amendment because the rule would be content-based restriction on speech. Since the public comment portion of council meeting is a designated public forum, a content-based restriction on speech would be analyzed under a strict scrutiny standard and thus would likely be found unconstitutional. Now, when I speak of US 395 444 1969, yes, I am making reference to constitutional docket of free speech under the United States of America Supreme Court ruling that, yes, I've used the term dirty niggers in reference to this case, Brandenburg versus Ohio, because that's how dirty some niggers are. And sometimes some niggas don't want to listen because niggas are rude and give people the cold shoulder.
No, you're a rude asshole. Fuck you.
But yeah, I understand how to fuck. I know how to fuck. I know how to fuck. But again, when you violate my constitutional beliefs, when I make reference to case law, that's the reason why this goddamn bitch, whoever they are, yelling and screaming like a fucking nut, makes you understand where I come from. I'm an American citizen. I'm not the trash talker like the one behind me or in front of me or beside me or the one questioning me.
I'm right here.
But you motherfuckers have to stop this kind of bullshit because as an American, I feel threatened.
Ma'am.
No one. I respect the law. I believe in the law. Matter of fact, I know for a fact that a nigger with attitude like me will say what I believe because I got the constitutional belief. And by the way, Sergeant of Arms, thank you for removing the asshole that continues to interrupt my free speech. 42 U.S.C. 1983 politely, fuck you.
We love you too.
All right. Again, the statements made during public comment do not reflect the values of the city of Long Beach. Every once in a while, the tone in Washington, D.C. trickles down and it shows up at this dais. But we're going to continue to stand on our values in the city of Long Beach. All right. Dave, are you still here? And then I didn't see Patricia or Carolina, so we're going to pass on them. Dave, you're the final speaker. Dave, you got the floor. We ready to go home.
And thank you for reminding all of us, especially when young folks were present, not to feed the trolls. I had something I was going to talk about, but I totally got distracted by that display. And I guess, you know, in moments of uncertainty, the best thing one can do is to try and educate, if not understand. The reason why the N-word is such a horrible word is because it's derived from the word niggardly, which means to be miserly with one's effort and with one's giving. And the reason why it's such a profound slur is because embedded in it is the idea that people who are brought here against their will to perform labor unremunerated and to be treated as property were in some way being withholding of work that some other folks thought they were due. It's unfortunate that incidents like this are going to continue to happen. And it's unfortunate, Mr. Mayor, that we're all going to have to sit through them and figure out a way not to collectively lose our shit. And so I'd like to thank you for trying to provide a better example.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. All right. We're going to go to our closing comments and announcement. I just want to say, as my closing comment, we had a flash mob tonight from Renaissance High School. I'm just saying. I mean, somebody dressed up as a circus conductor, and we had cameras, and I mean, it was certainly a circus tonight. But the high point was those young people who pulled that flash mob on us. So we want to thank Renaissance High School one more time. That's right. Okay, I don't see any council members sign up for comments, so I think everybody's ready to go. You sure? Okay. Councilmember Sorrow, you're up.
We're reflecting on your closing thought, Mayor, and it's just in agreement. So do want to close just, unfortunately due to work, I won't be here in the next council meeting. I wanted to share our annual 6th District Thankful Heart event. Thanks to Westin Hotel for their generosity in sponsoring the dinners. To those in need, especially our senior, and more than ever this year, it's going to be needed given the government shutdown. It still will take some time as we figure out how to reopen, so I know that this will be timely for many who will need a warm meal as well as warm company. So it'll be on Tuesday, November 25th at McBride Park. And it'll be from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Everyone is welcome and invited. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember, Vice Mayor, you're on.
Thank you, Mayor. I wish to invite the public and their families to the 31st Annual Daisy Lake Parade to be held on Saturday, December 13th at 5 p.m. As one of the longest running neighborhood parades in the country, we are thrilled to continue the tradition in the Wrigley neighborhood. As we invite residents out to join in the festivities, applications are still open for community groups and organizations that wish to participate in this year's parade. Participation is free, and the application can be found at www.longbeach.gov/District 7. And happy Father's Day.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Kerr.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This weekend in CD5, there's several ways to connect with the community and support small businesses. On Friday, November 14th from 5 to 9, enjoy live music and start early on your holiday shopping at the monthly second Friday night market at the Long Beach Exchange. Then on Saturday, November 15th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., you can visit Kubo Long Beach on Atlantic Avenue for their monthly third Saturday Mercado to support local artisans and vendors. This Saturday, the 15th, you can also join neighbors in Bixby Knolls for a community tree planting event in partnership with the Bixby Knolls Neighborhood Association and the Office of Sustainability. Starting at 9 a.m. on the corner of San Antonio Drive and California, you can help support the growth of our urban forest. Then on the 16th, you can enjoy the outdoors with neighbors on the monthly Kiddical Mass Bike Ride through Bixby Knolls. You meet at 11 behind Pixie Toys on Atlantic. All are welcome. Please bring your helmet. This weekend, you can clear out some space in your home or garage by bringing unwanted e-waste to McBride High School at 7025 Park Crest from 9 to 3, both on Saturday the 15th and Sunday the 16th. So if you have extra e-waste laying around, you can take it there. And lastly, I invite you to join me and my team at our CD5 community meeting being held Thursday, November 20th at 6 p.m. at the Wardlow Park Community Center, where we will be joined by the Parks, Recreation, and Marine team. We'll see you out in the community.
All right, council members in Dejas.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to give Renaissance High School a big shout out for the great pep flash that they had tonight. We really, really enjoyed that. Every time Renaissance has a performance or anytime they have events, it is just such a joy. So I want to thank Renaissance High School, all of their youth, all of their teachers for always being such a special part, not only of District 1, but of citywide. That said, I also want to invite everyone to District 1 night at the Aquarium of the Pacific this Thursday, November 13th at 6:30 p.m. to 8:30. Please pre-register, and if you want to register or if you want to sign up, please call my office. Also, on Saturday, November 15th as well, we have the AOC 7 Annual Thanksgiving Meal Giveaway this Saturday, November 15th, starting at 10 a.m. at MacArthur Park. Please register because it is required. If you want any information on any of these two events, please contact my office.
All right, and Councilmember Thrashintook.
Thank you so much. I'd first like to take a moment to recognize North Village and Ridgewood Triangle neighborhoods for their continuing strong community engagement with their recent meetings and street cleanups. I also want to thank our Public Works team for attending the North Village meeting to provide an update on traffic calming measures. Your presence and collaboration were greatly appreciated by myself and the residents. As we observe Veterans Day today, I wish to extend a sincere gratitude to all who have served our country. Your courage and selflessness remind us of the true meaning of service. The celebration that we just had at Houghton Park this past weekend in Uptown was a wonderful tribute to our veterans and their lasting contributions. I want to thank Mayor Rex Richardson, along with Councilwoman Rix Odie, and Trustee Uduak Intuk, along with myself, for joining in those celebrations. And congratulations to all of the honorees this year. Looking ahead, my office will be hosting a solar clinic workshop on Thursday, November 20th, in partnership with Empower Gateway and Grid Alternatives. Looking for ways to try and decrease your electricity and energy bills? This is a great event where you'll be able to learn more about that. This event will take place from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Lindbergh Middle School, again on November 20th, and will offer homeowners and others an access to free energy-saving resources, solar programs, and EV charging opportunities. Experts will be on hand to guide attendees through the application process, available rebates, and offer easy ways and hassle-free ways to upgrade your homes. And later that week, on Saturday, November 22nd, the Lindbergh Middle School will host a school food drive just in time for the holiday. That'll be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll be providing fresh food and essential supplies to families ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday. For any additional information about these upcoming events, feel free to contact my office at District 8. Good night.
All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good night. Meeting adjourned.